What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tuned in to World Combat Sports.
Merry Christmas to everyone that's out there. Once again, thanks for tuning in to World Combat Sports. Man, what it is, we only have a few days remaining in this year. And a lot of us, including myself, is trying to see if this stimulus, these stimulus checks are going to be approved. You know what I'm saying? I mean, are they going to help us out? Just because we have a new electee, we just going to let the stimulus checks go by the wayside, thinking $600 is all we need. Shout out to everyone that support World Combat Sports this year, man, and hopefully many more in the year 2021. For those of you that's day ones, continue to tune in. Hope everyone Christmas is going just fine. This right here, man, this is going to be another one. This segment right here is very special. It's not near and dear to my heart. I can tell you that. It's not near and dear to my heart. Believe that. I'm just putting it out there that it's certain things that should be addressed. And, I have no problem with addressing them. Because when it comes down to the reality of it, some people want to believe, the comfort zone in their environment, instead of just assessing it truthfully, with competence for what it really is. If it's bullshit, say it's bullshit. If not, then you have every right to digest it as you see fit. The whining 2020. You kind of get you kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? I know you get it. You smart. You got it. Man, my list of whiners for 2020, I have to go in this, man. I have to dive a little bit into it. I have to recognize the whiners that in this particular case, they might have gained fans or lost fans from the disappointment of being a whiner this year. I mean, it's not anything that's technical about trying to figure it out. They take the media. Well, let me back up a little bit. Some of these individuals, right, they're able to say less until they face adversity. You know what I'm saying? They're able to get along and go with the current. They're good until they start losing the oars that was keeping them afloat. Or they had a good co-pilot. Once all that goes and they end up hitting that waterfall, then it's all the excuses in the world. Like numero uno, Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko, in my opinion, as much as I want to say he disappointed me, I just never really supported Lomachenko like that anyway. People was getting mad and upset when I was saying that he was overrated, when he was actually doing well. But I was looking and assessing his competition. I was like, I just see him and still with a bit of his amateurish ways. When he faced the top competition, he's not going to be able to excel like people believe he's going to. And though he tried to pull the wool over our eyes coming in here as a two-time Olympian, being blessed beforehand with a title shot in his second fight, all these promises that was given to Vasily, so he wasn't able to get it done in his second professional fight. So he ended up fighting for the vacant, where Gary Russell had to move down in weight for Vasily's third fight, and he ended up tying. It's a tie between him and a Thailand fighter, right? But anyway, as he went along in his career, he really wasn't facing all that, that superstar power competition like people was trying to put him out there. It wasn't going down like that. And then recently he ran into the one and only Teofimo Lopez and chose to take the first half of the fight off, and then gets mad when the decision doesn't come back in his favor. Now the first part of the bitch assness that I seen was him laying up in the hospital bed, looking all gloomy and sad, with showing us the little incisions that was made in his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, what is this? You gonna try to take away from Teofimo Lopez's freaking win? You're gonna try to be the wounded right now? This is high tech. People call him high tech. No. Let me just say, they call him high tech. They call Lomachenko the Matrix. They had so many names. White Jesus. They had so many names lined up for Vasily Lomachenko, to the fact that, every time his name popped up, they would either use one of them. The Matrix, White Jesus, high tech. And they really felt that was what he deserved when he was in there competing. And I'm saying to myself, okay, so he goes in there. He gets the fight with no rematch with T.O., loses, get mad, put up a hospital picture, and then recently take to the media and talking about the judges was bribed. He felt if anything, it should have been a draw. He should have won. And it's just excuses after excuses coming. He was injured. The one thing I would never accept is that the people are really not saying too much about Vasily Lomachenko dropping all these damn excuses. They should really be on Vasily's freaking neck with all the excuses, because I see on IG where people y'all want to give him excuses for his shoulder, but you don't want to give him what? What are you leaving out? You're not really identifying in the 8th through the 11th round, Vasily Lomachenko was having his momentum. You're not saying, like, where was the shoulder injury on the 8th through 11th round where he was having success with Teofimo. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I'm looking at that like, man, this is damn excuses after excuses, man. Where was that after when the 8th and the 11th round? Where's the shoulder injury? Tone Brown in the building. Andrew Charles, what's good? D Hodges, Alexander, what's good? What's good, everyone? Merry Christmas, y'all. Dion Washington, Merry Christmas, you too, man. Out of Tuscaloosa, shout out. Everyone else that pulled up today, appreciate you. What was all the accountability when it came down to Vasily Lomachenko? This is absolutely the list of not everyone, but the priority of the whining that took place in 2020. You know what I'm saying? I have to put it out there for people to kind of get an understanding of, we don't want this bleeding over into 2021. So when y'all hear Vasily Lomachenko's name and him out here talking about the judges, they were bribed, that's a harsh look. That is a deep accusation. It's amazing how you on top. They calling you the Matrix. You take your second. To some people, they say, okay, your definitive loss, clear-cut, concise loss against Teofimo Lopez. You take it. Now, your record will display 14-2. It will not be as ESPN try to erase your one loss against Orlando Salido. Now you have 2 losses to your record. Now people drop you like a used condom in the crack house. No one's talking about Vasily Lomachenko. And they should be. They should be holding him accountable for making freaking excuses. So now he's coming back out saying, oh, if you got lucky, let's run it back. No. You should have put a rematch clause and made sure if Teofimo Lopez is negotiating 1.2 to 2 million, Lomachenko and his team should have made very well there was a rematch. This would have held off the Gambosis fight until Vasily Lomachenko healed up, got back in the gym, because it's not his first injury, got back in the gym, And then we would have been looking forward to a rematch in 2021 between Teofimo Lopez and Vasil Lomachenko. That would have cut that all out. Period. Now, Underrated Darkness, what's good? Salute. Appreciate you dropping through, brother. Now, next to one of my one of my commonalities in as of recent, and yeah, I'm not gonna stay on it too long, just long enough to continue to make people aware of what's going on, right? We need to understand one thing when opinions are made from the media and what I actually see. When I actually see shit out here in the media, I have every right to assess it as I see fit. If you think I'm exaggerating or exacerbating it, then it's cool. But that's what we have clips out here for and all this other shit, right? But for Devin Haney, he's number 2 on the list. You know what I'm saying? Capping, clout chasing T.O., and ducking Michael Williams Jr. I'm just gonna talk about something that's basically shout out to Team Williams, man. Shout out to Team Williams. But peep this. I want people to understand about Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. All right. You have to understand the amount of fights they have and look at their resume on who they was able to fight. I already told you all how T.O. in 2019 fought 4 times, ran the gauntlet, and then came over here and zipped up, solidified himself as the undisputed lightweight champion in 2020 with the biggest fight with the top pound for pound guy. Okay. Now, the reason why I respect that so much is the fact that he called out the top pound for pound years ago. Like over a year ago, he called out Vasily Lomachenko. He called him out. So in order to get to the top pound for pound guy, he had to fight the guy that was in front of him. Boom. Take care of Nakatani. Faced through adversity. He was going through some personal shit, and it's like, boom, went in there. Richard Comey smashed him in 2 rounds. Boom, went in there with Vasily Lomachenko decision. I respect that. But for Devin Haney, he's trying to act like he's actually mirrored or emulated the same action, but without the actual credential of facts on his resume to represent himself. That's what I don't like about the whole deal, where you want to talk crap about people that's calling it for what it is, but you always want to say, well, clout chasing, capping. Isn't it capping when you're trying to make us believe you're fighting these top individuals? You know what I'm saying? You're fighting these top individuals, but your resume doesn't say so. That is considered capping in the millennial term. It's considered, fabricating the actual visual and everything to go along with it. And not a lot of people, including myself, are tired of it, man. Look, black people, we should be over looking at somebody else that look like us, and then they talking about money, money, money. It's cool to have all that money and show and be fly and flashy. Real talk. I never knock anybody for getting it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get it. But I'm speaking about the cloud, the canopy that you're trying to act like, you have this halo walking around, and your resume in boxing represents where you're trying to put your name in the sport of boxing. That's not where you at right now. People are seeing it. You're not at that level right now. I don't think in your heart of hearts you believe you could have did what Teofimo Lopez was able to do. In your heart of hearts, you couldn't have ran the gauntlet with Nakatani, Comey, and then Lomachenko. So the why is this right here. If you say you fight anybody, what does anybody mean? Somebody give me a definition of what anybody. Anybody. What does anybody mean? Anybody mean if you point your finger at someone that may be in a setting. Let's just say this sport that we compete in, they're in a setting. They're accessible to you. You select them. Anybody that's here, they'll fight anybody. So anybody doesn't include the names of Michael Williams Jr. because He has a 14-0 record, but the rest of them got cats you just finished fighting 12-0 and 11-0. And the reason why I'm saying is not to keep touching on the same thing, but to just refresh y'all memories that in 2021, remember I said this. Bill Haney said top 25, bottom 25 will not fight Devin Haney. That's why they fought Alfredo Santiago. And then they fought an older fighter in Yorkis Gamboa coming off the jump, Vontae Davis freaking loss, right? So you took an old guy who's at the end of his career and 39 years old, the 2030 this month, and that's supposed to be the top competition. So I'm telling you all, make sure that you pay attention to 2021 and check out who Devin Haney steps into the ring with. Because what I don't appreciate, if you have an upcoming hungry lion that really wants to step in the ring, they're not asking for a handout. You know, we can give a damn about the titles, but we want the challenge. We want to be able to step in there. And I really get sick and tired of my people, my black people saying, let's eat together. Let's break bread together. Let's progress together. You know, let's do that. We all black. Come on, black. Let's progress together. Let's raise one another up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, look at these high ceilings in here. You know, that's what we want you to see. We want you to see how we living. Let me take you outside in the driveway. Let me show you these rods out here. Yeah, that's how we living. That's what we do. So then it comes to a point where you say, hey, if we helping each other progress together and we all about raising each other up, break bread together, let's help each other grow as a unit. You know what I'm saying? So black people grow as a unit, then we can further succeed as black people and grow, and our branches and roots will flourish as we see fit. When it comes time for you to ask that person, hey man, I just really need to ask you something. You know, he don't have an opponent, blah, 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 or whatever the case may be. You know, what about? No, man, just keep on doing what you're doing, man. It ain't that time yet. I can't help you. And then they up here calling people to try to shut the shit down. That ain't progressing together. That's not progressing together when you done burnt bridges with a lot of black people in boxing. But y'all pay attention to Devin Haney's opponent next year. Y'all make sure y'all pay attention to Devin Haney's opponent. And the reason why I want you all to pay attention, so I want you all to understand on how boxing, what part of boxing I respect the most. I don't care how people, you know, the fruits of their labor. They in there taking the punches. They can do what they want to do. It's all good, bro. But when you are out here making it difficult and portraying and putting on the image, and you want to say the other people's capping, you want to say that they hating and all this other stuff, and then, you know, you got to be held accountable for those same words when you're doing it. So like I tell everybody else that tunes in to boxing and hardcore boxing fans, pay attention to Devin Haney's next opponent. Bill Haney, he said no one in the top 25 or the bottom 25 wanted to face Devin Haney. And then we all know that he never had a mandatory with Vasyl Lomachenko. But when the question was asked, did he talk to Bob about Vasyl? He paused, bit his lip, hold up, wait a minute. No, we want Tio. So now you clout chasing. Teofimo just ran the gauntlet and picked up the prize, the ultimate prize, and now you running behind Tio. I don't appreciate that, man. You should fight somebody in between. You can't sit up here and say, oh, Crawford should fight Sean Porter, a common opponent. But then when it comes to Devin Haney, y'all don't want to fight none of Teofimo's common opponents. So you clout chasing Teofimo. It's disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's disappointing. It's very disappointing that they clout chasing Teofimo Lopez right now because he has all the belts. And not too many people even giving him a chance to go in there and win. If Lomachenko is still ranked high as he is with a loss, and he's ranked 7th in the top pound for pound right now next to Teofimo Lopez, why don't you call up Vasyl Lomachenko, and let's see you go in there and put that work in. If you saying you're gonna whoop Teofimo's ass and you're gonna whoop this person ass, you'll beat Michael Williams Jr. ass, and you beating all these people ass, go beat Vasily Lomachenko's ass. Go beat his ass because you're telling people that you're the best. So don't try to slide up out of the lightweight division and go to 140 without facing Vasyl Lomachenko. You on the Duck Masters Coalition, Team Haney. You have fought no tough competition at lightweight. Man, if you ran the gauntlet, I'd be like, man, give that man all the respect. He had 3 tough fights. Nakatani gave him trouble with the height and reach. Richard Comey was a bona fide, legitimate champion who fought for his belt. And then you had Teofimo, who's a top pound for pound. That in itself is a plethora of respect that he's going to receive for quite some time. Like all the shit you see Teofimo doing, he should do. All the call outs, like from the young bulls, like a 21-year-old Michael Williams, you should respect that. Hey, you got somebody out here that has a fan base too. Give him an opportunity. You don't have anybody lined up. It's not like, look, I can see if his record, this was all new to his record, but he has those type of opponents on his record already. So Michael Williams Jr. would be just great. Errol Spence. Errol Spence, man. I know there's a lot of narratives being sliced and diced around the boxing community, but Errol Spence spitting that 70-30 or whatever we give him. Once again, I say 70-30 or whatever we give him is bullshit. That's 70-30 or whatever we give him. People want to talk about, well, they could have made the fight a long time ago, or they did make the fight, or whatever the case. Or Terrence Crawford said he didn't want to fight Errol Spence coming off the car accident. Okay, that's passed already. He fought Danny Garcia, got it done. But yet, Errol, all of a sudden, what did you do to Sean Porter? This is what I'm talking about. Clout chasing and capping that my people use all the time. Sometimes you just need to be quiet with that. What did Errol Spence do twice, y'all? Seriously. Did he not show up to Sean Porter? Did he not show up to Sean Porter intoxicated or whatever he was? He didn't sound like he was sober. And he want to call out Sean Porter, you know, and take away his glory post-fight and go in there and call him out. Did he not? Was he not there? You know what I'm saying? To try to, you know, say I want Canelo Alvarez at 160. After the commentator, he's trying to say, will we ever be able to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford? And then he said, yeah, it'll happen. It could happen. But, you know, I really want that fight with Canelo Alvarez at 160. So what is the discussion right now? Do you want to fight with Errol Spence after that Danny Garcia win? Or are you trying to pursue Canelo Alvarez? J8 in the building. What's good? If you have any questions, let me know so I can address the live chat in the building. Let me know, people. And Merry Christmas to everyone that's tuned in. So I just want to know, Errol Spence, 70-30 is toilet water. You know what I'm saying? It is absolutely toilet water with a couple of them floating around. There's no way that you should be coming out your mouth trying to demand 70-30 when you straight up face-to-face told this man you was going Sean Porter route. So when you out of the look, post-fight presser, they ask you about Terrence Crawford again, and I know you're getting tired of the questions, but you turn around and say, I don't know why Terrence Crawford ain't here. I wouldn't show up in his fights. He just stick to his word. He don't need me for, you know, he don't need me. Cool. So are you going to fight Terrence Crawford or what? Because if you're not, then we need to move on to something else. Because if you thinking Sean Porter going to go over there, I know which a lot of people are hoping, and we've been hearing a lot of it in the news lately that Sean Porter potentially maybe the next face that steps in the ring with Terrence Crawford. We need to know if you're going to plan on fighting or you're going to try to wait till somebody else scoop up that belt. Either way it goes there, Errol Spence, 70-30 is absurd. It is preposterous. My word. Why are you coming up with all this entitlement? You're a two-time world champion in the division that I have spoke on plenty of times before. There's fighters out here who have did it in much shorter fashion than you. Now you get to a point where you have this name and recognition, and the top pound for pound guy, one of the top pound for pound guys, according to the way you look, is in your entire division. But you walking around here saddled up on a horse called Man Up, and you're saying I'm the big dog at welterweight. We don't need to hear you the big dog at welterweight. We need for you to show us that you're the best at welterweight. We don't want to hear that you're the big dog. We just want you to show us that you are the best at welterweight. Because if you beat Terrence Crawford, you obviously take his place on the pound for pound list. It's that simple. You take his belt, you take his spot. It's that simple. All the other shit you talking is nonsense. You making it about numbers now and then trying to dilute the competitiveness of it. Stay competitive and allow us, the boxing media and the boxing fans, to speak on it, continue to build it up. So when you finally fight, we can all decide on whether we want to purchase the fight or crack stream it. I mean, you got to be fair. You know what I'm saying? So allow us to just sit here and let it marinate and stop going out here to the media and saying 70-30 bullshit. That's disrespectful. And people want to talk about belts, who did this fight, who did that fight. At the end of the motherfucking day, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, everybody speaks of how many division. When it comes to Floyd Mayweather, everybody mentions divisions. Manny Pacquiao with 7 losses, everybody mentions division. He can do what he want. He's Manny Pacquiao. He makes $20 million a fight. He can do what he want. He's a legend. He's this. Okay. So if we are mentioning the divisions that stays with a fighter, because this is what I'm trying to help people understand when it comes to divisions. Some people seem to selectively have amnesia on whatever fighter, if they're advocating for that fighter or they basically criticizing the fighter, right? So you can't say what have a fighter done at a single division and excuse the previous divisions for which he's been a champion, he or she been a champion, because divisions are a reputation. That's what divisions are. They are considered a reputation, a part of your professional career. It is a resume. It is what you've been able to accomplish during your tenure in the sport. That's why they say multi-division champions. Multi means more than one. So we can go 2, 3, 4 divisions, and those divisions follow that individual into whatever division they're competing at or whatever negotiations they're heading into. Yeah, it's different for everybody. It depends on if you're coming off a loss, you're coming off a draw, you're coming off a win. It depends. But when it comes to Spence and Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence need to wake the fuck up and stop diluting this fight between him and Terrence Crawford so much that he's making himself seem like he's loopy. You're going to make a fight? Look, people, if you have communication with Errol Spence, allow him to know this. Why are you going to make the biggest fight of your career The biggest fight of your career. Why are you going to make it about money all of a sudden? Not in a sense that, okay, it's all about how much money Errol Spence is trying to make, but he's trying to make it about money to basically have his opponent be at an unfair advantage heading into the fight monetarily, when his opposition in Terrence Crawford has basically done more than him in his boxing career. He has achieved more than Errol Spence in his boxing career. We know this shit. Alexander Usyk complaining about glove padding. Hey, guess what? And when you went over there and you thought Eddie Hearns was gonna be all about you, just be quiet. You and your homeboy, almost said homegirl. You and your homeboy, Vasil Lomachenko, your Ukrainian countryman. Y'all need to stop whining so much. You look okay against Chase Witherspoon, all right? You step in there with Derek Chisora, and people kind of felt that Chisora won, but you could have did more. You're not really living up to what people saw you at when you was fighting cruiserweight and unified division. So right now, as heavyweight, you're not really fitting the bill. And the only way you're going to fit the bill, of course, is how you look if you ever get the opportunity with Anthony Joshua. But don't complain about the padding and the gloves. You know, have your team do their damn job. That's what you pay them for. Don't complain afterwards that is padding because you didn't look that good. The glove is to protect the fighter. That's what it is. So if they want to have a very little padding in the glove, or you all want to complain about Everlast, MX, then you need to do a better job with your team to make sure they ensure that the proper equipment is utilized. The equipment that was approved is utilized in the ring. You have to make sure that. Y'all have to make sure they're doing their due diligence for your best benefit. Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is one of the biggest, disappointments on the back end of this, because Danny Garcia, like I said previously, he fought for the vacant title to join the championship ranks of the welterweight division. But yet, Danny Garcia, whenever you chose to defend your title once and step in there with Keith Thurman, he defeated you. You know what I'm saying? He defeated you, Danny Garcia. You stepped in for the vacant title against Sean Porter. This is the time for Danny to step up, because at one point in time, Danny was considered the cherry picker of boxing. Cherry picker. People was like, Danny, it's a cherry picker. You go in there and lose against Sean Porter. And you want to tell the public that it's just sometimes I haven't did enough into the big fights. I haven't did enough outside the ring to show up and get the victory inside the ring. I haven't did enough. So you're telling me you're inconsistent and you're not taking the boxing game serious enough to be great. I get it. Now you get the opportunity of a lifetime coming off a loss with Sean Porter, and then you're able to, have a couple of wins, step back in there with Errol Spence, and get beat up. So going back to my man Mikey Garcia, who say he see things, right? and look, I'm not trying to throw no subliminals out there, but just stick with me. Mikey Garcia said, I see things. So of course he's seen the gloves for 12 rounds from Errol Spence. He's seen the gloves, right? Pop, 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 pop. For 12 rounds. Danny Garcia should have got with Mikey Garcia. They have, the same name. They might have, link up somehow in the genealogy. You know what I'm saying? They both Garcias. But he should have got with Mikey Garcia, and I'm pretty sure he did, about what Mikey seen before the fight and what he didn't see in the fight. So if he would have got with Mikey Garcia on what he actually did not see in the fight, when he had that confidence heading into that, then maybe Danny Garcia would have performed better. But Danny was beat the fuck up. Mikey was not. How is that if Mikey was moving up from 35 to 47, Danny Garcia goes in there and get beat up, and he's been campaigning at 47 for quite some time? He's coming off of a first-time stoppage at Adrian Granados. He goes in there and go to distance with Ivan Redcatch. But he falls short and gets beat the fuck up by Errol Spence. I am so disappointed in you, Danny Garcia. I am absolutely disappointed because some people around here saying that you was undefeated, which we all know that is absolutely false. That is what you call a psychosomatic, acutely delusional, debilitated, chronic disorder. That particular individual who was out here saying you was undefeated, hopefully he's been able to get some type of therapy for that. Because Danny Garcia is defeated. He absolutely is defeated. Again. But the post-fight conference, what did Danny Garcia say? He said, didn't get busy enough. I'm like, no shit. You weren't busy enough. And you didn't fight a smart fight. No shit, Danny Garcia. Sir Ken in the building. What's good? He said, World Combat Sports. Merry Christmas to the wrenches. Merry Christmas to the chats. Happy holidays to all that. Smash the like button. I appreciate you, Sir Ken, each and every time. Real talk. Appreciate you, tapping the keys for the right reason. You know what I'm saying? Michael Johnson Boxing talking more. Salute to you. Loma said he ain't giving Lopez the win. And being that I like to bring up and caveat to the comments, I will talk on that. Absolutely. Just let me get through my list. We will talk about what Lomachenko, Mr. the entitlement himself, the baby. He's turning into the Ukrainian baby, the two-time Olympian. He act like somebody took away a medal. You know what? We're going to take away one of your gold medals until you start to act right, until you get those belts back. We're going to leave you that one medal, okay? You have to earn this second medal because we told you're going to get a damn title shot when you came into the professional ranks. Now you done lost. You're 14-2. There's punishment behind that. There's repercussions and consequences. Don't call our phone. Don't drop no emails in the inbox. None of that shit. We will get back with you about when you're going to have this medal returned to you. You understand that, Loma? Okay, cool. We're going to talk about that shit. So that's my take on Danny Garcia. Real talk. That is my take on Danny Garcia. He did not show up once again. Danny Garcia failed his fans when it's time for him to fight the elite of his division. He chose to come up short. Come up short. Y'all hold on for a second because the next one is going to be very interesting. Okay, I'm back, people. The next one is interesting because, once again, we're not here to go to a full thesis. You know what I'm saying? This is just light boxing dialogue and banter on Christmas Day, man. And I appreciate everyone who pulling up and stopping through and support the channel. We're still trying to build. We trying to build. It's good I got the low numbers that come in the chat because they ask some damn good questions. I appreciate you. The next one on the list, man, is the one and only Bill Haney. You know, you say, how do you have the black father and son on the list? It has nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with that. It does have a lot to do with the actions of these individuals. Now, if I never would have been pulled into this, then I would have stayed behind outside the perimeter. But let me tell you some things that just didn't sit well with somebody that my age and what I've been through in life and time and what I've learned, right? It doesn't, when we are growing up as individuals, you know, adolescents and everything, we go through a critical period of learning. That's when cognitively we're picking up certain things like what's right, what's wrong, you know, what's good, bad, hot, cold. We're picking up certain shit like that. That's a critical period. You know, that happens very young in life, right? But it's always been an issue with me where you are of age and you are competent as a growing individual, whether it be a teenager, young adult, or an older adult, and we pretty much understand between each other, you know, what is bullshit and what isn't. It gets a little agitating, or some can consider indirect antagonism when people try to bullshit you with certain things and try to run game on you or try to speak to you if you are inferior. You know what I'm saying? So it comes a question of, are they intentionally doing it, or they're just trying to test and see where you at in life? So with the Haneys, when it was a point in time when I actually gave the young brother a chance to try to support him. But, you know, in life, people are like this. My people. You know, my people have cliche terms sometimes. I'm not saying it's just my people. I'm just talking for my people because I'm black since day one. So I look at it like this when my people use all these terms, and here I am, you know, just providing the honesty of Devin Haney. And I was never really sold on Devin Haney, but I was helping out. And the fact that I was asked to assist a certain individual that team chose to be the mouthpiece. Well, just because I said Devin Haney was third in the lightweight division, or it went down to the point where I was told I was dick riding Devin Haney all of a sudden. I was like, what? Anybody who know me, you talking about the lightweight division, you know, I was talking about Teofimo Lopez for quite some time. But as black people, that's where the support and the progress goes awry. I was told I was dick riding. I was like, dick riding. If you look at my YouTube catalog, you know, I have white fighters, black fighters, Mexican, young, old. I did my damn groundwork and trench work, right? I have some legends on my freaking catalog, all that shit, right? So I was told I was dick riding Devin Haney. Dick riding. Now, it's not anything out there outside of helping this individual out. So I say, okay, they want people to support them and say his name all day. So I'm asking myself, what is that considered? Dick riding or being a cockologist? A cock riding? Because if you say a fighter over and over again, that's the only fighter you know, that's really cock riding right there. That's what I call social media fellatio. And this is the problem that I had when you talk about black people supporting and people dropping shit in my inbox about going in on the Haneys. This shit is boxing. This ain't personal. This is boxing. Recently, we called them out. Team Williams called out the Haneys, but yet Bill had to make phone calls and shut the shit down. I thought that was petty as shit. I thought that was really petty. And you notice I didn't talk about any of that until it came out on the air. But this what is not out there for me to understand. When Bill showed up, Bill put half of the shit out there. When Bill showed up in my live, first and foremost, whether you show up to a live or not, I'm 50 years old. Do you think I'm goo-goo-eyed or starstruck over you, another man? I am not. I've never been that dude. The first time he shows up on my live, he's after another guy. He's going in on Easy Work Boxing. He's trying to come in here and come for him for whatever reason. So I didn't have anything to do with that. But yet, the lack of respect he had when he showed up on my platform, I still let him talk. I allowed him to talk. And he was being disrespectful back to this individual, trying to talk how a man looked and how his teeth was looking and all this other shit. And I just didn't quite understand where he was going with it. So I just wanted to prove to the public, being that I wasn't over there on that platform assisting Devin Haney anymore, because that's, I have standards. I've been in the world much longer than certain people. He's been his avenues, I've driven mine. But then it gets around to, I want to prove to the people on how black people operate. They say, let me progress with you. Let's break bread together. Let's march together. Let's build upon one another. So I said, in the middle of him doing what he was doing, I asked him a simple question. I was wondering, can I do some media? Because I'm media. I wonder, can I cover some media on Devin? I asked a simple question. Because I really didn't want to be honest. I just popped the question out there. Because this is a guy who goes around finessing a lot of channels on social media, and they're willing to put out his narratives and inject those narratives into the social media audience and make certain things seem bigger than what they are. But his first time on my platform, he's going in with Easy Work Boxing, and they're going back and forth. I asked him, "No, what's up? How you doing? No this, no that. Is my platform." I said, "Can I come out there, man, and get some media time with Devin for this fight camp on November 7th?" This man tells me that I need to make right with this guy called H, right? And I know his real name, but I'm just not gonna put it out there. I'm just not gonna put it out there. He's telling me, a brother from the South, from the city, has a career already, retired, covered boxing for the longest of time, family, all that shit, right? He tells me I need to make right with this dude. And I asked about Devin Haney. Now, let me tell you this, Bill. Why would you ask me to check in with a nigga, right? When I ask about your son? Why would you do some shit like that when you know me and you the same damn age? That's disrespectful. When you had a black man that's out here doing media trying to support Devin Haney, as black people do sometimes, they overreact. Because sometimes my people think if they allow one individual to come into the group, that one individual is going to be too much. Oh man, they just coming along for the ride. But guess what? This dude has not been around since the first time that you laced up gloves with Devin Haney. So why are you going to tell me to check in with a dude when I'm asking to do my job as media and provide your son more exposure? I have people in my catalog that's much bigger than Devin Haney. But you're gonna disrespect and jump on somebody's platform and act like I'm supposed to check in with someone that's not even respected amongst his peer group. You obviously got somebody confused. And that right there showed me that you don't really want the support of the real one, so to speak, because This, in my opinion, I told people, be careful about the ones that say they're going to keep it real, and be more concerned and associated with the ones that are real, because that's the ones you need to be concerned. The ones that are real, not the one that's keeping it real, putting on the facade, but the ones that are real individuals. This dude gonna tell me I need to get this done. I need to make good with songs. I say, what? I asked about doing some media. Now this leads me to this. When we just recently, called him out, Team Williams Jr., I'm saying you got two individuals that you just had on there with 11-0 and 12-0 record. So peep this, y'all. They're chasing Teofimo Lopez, who was able to earn a title shot with Richard Comey in 15 fights. 15 fights. Michael Williams Jr. is just 14 fights. But he doesn't have the resume of Teofimo Lopez, obviously. But he has 14 fights. So what Teofimo Lopez was able to do is become a unified champion, undisputed lightweight, along with the franchise belt. Okay. But before that, they were saying Teofimo Lopez was ducking Devin Haney. That's the mouthpiece they wanted me to check in with. A grown-ass man who has led real-world situations with generals, carrying top-secret messages to the Pentagon as a teenager. He wants me to check in with a dude who would have never made it off the footprints in my world when it comes to the military service. But as much as people on social media are bamboozled by what they are witnessing, all I can do is sit back and speak my piece. I could care less, because sometimes you know how they always say first impressions is everything. The first impression of me when Bill came on my platform was that it's not really about Devin. Because if it was about Devin, more people would have access to him, but hardly anybody have access to him. So I guess they're not learning from the Crawford. It's going to take more than IG, stunned on IG, because this is his first division where he's been able to obtain OBTAIN, obtain a world championship. This is the first division where Devin Haney has been able to obtain OBTAIN, obtain, not compete for. So when somebody asks you to cover your son and you consider them as a mature individual, then you should take it as such. You should say, okay, cool. Just like he says all the time, this young brother, I had to get on here because this young brother's out here doing, he taught that smooth. Okay. What about the brothers that's your age? So you trying to tell me I get less respect and you don't respect what I'm doing out here on the grind, covering amateur all the way up to profession? You don't respect what I'm doing? You want me to check in with an individual that I can't even recognize as an adult? That shows me it's not about Devin. It's strictly about you. Because if you allow Devin at this point to only frequent the higher tier of certain platforms that you feel that has the numbers, and let's get one thing straight about some of these numbers that's out here on social media. Some of them are organic numbers and some of them are artificial. Let's understand how that pie is sliced. Some are organic and some is artificial. But I will still, to this day, being an IT dude, I ask you to run the numbers. If a person is at 80,000, if you're sitting at 80,000 subscribers on your YouTube, but every time you go live, you have 500. Do the math. 500 out of 80,000 subscribers. 500 out of 80,000 subscribers. But you want your son to go to the ones with the bigger numbers, but not the ones with integrity. You want the numbers. You don't want the integrity. So that's what I found out a long time ago about media. People be mad. Crawford has it down pat. I commend Crawford for that. Crawford really don't fuck with the media unless he really knows you. And I have to respect Crawford for the time it took for him to give me an interview and how he go about the way he do with media. That's the way he feels, right? But with Bill Haney, though, what he was able to say, and he really didn't want integrity over everything. I say it's not about his son. It's all about him showing and telling. So when Team Williams come out with this damn call out, Devin jumps on there with damn, Amazon money in the dash and saying he went and bought a 2021. Who cares about that shit? You know why I don't care about that? Because you've earned it. But my disappointment is you can hop on certain channels and show them the backdrop to your house, which everybody knows that you've been in the game, the music business. You've been in the game, period. That's not my talking point. My talking point is when it comes to boxing, is how you are manipulating the entire process. The manipulation is, once again, it's really not about your son. Because if it was about Devin Haney, you would tell people the truth, that he really hasn't truly fought the top competition. You're going to try your damnedest for him to fight the best competition as he continue to grow in the sport. And that's how we're going to go. But when you're trying to go to the public and the black people and show materialistic items that's not in the ring with you when you compete, and you're trying to say, well, this is what we're making right now. This was Devin gross right now. It's all about the money. Team Lopez was lying about the 10 million with George Gamboa. It doesn't make a difference what they're lying about. You know what they're not doing? They're not going out here showboating outside their means. They're going out here proving that they're one of the best in the sport of boxing. That's what they're doing. I would appreciate it more that people understand what's important. IG isn't important when you get in the ring and go the distance with a 39-year-old Gamboa. When you went the distance with Alfredo Santiago and you want to say your shoulder was hurt. And you get on here and speak on another platform and say we'll fight anybody. But yet and still, they ask you about Alfredo Santiago. I mean, you bring up Alfredo Santiago and say no one wanted to fight you from the bottom 25 to the top 25. He's ranked in the organization. It was a bunch of bullshit. So the big question for you, Bill Haney, I'm curious to know who's your next opponent going to be for your son. Because people are figuring out that it takes more than a shoulder roll to be Floyd Mayweather. You're trying to act like you got the bankroll to match the shoulder roll with Floyd Mayweather. And I'm telling you to stop working today. And what you're portraying to the public will go away. That's all I'm saying. Don't think it's no disrespect, but I'm just putting it out there. Like, if you have a young bull, a young up and coming fighter, and you always preaching to the black people that's out here on social media, that you live in the lavish lifestyle and all that, don't the first word come out your mouth that somebody's hating on you. Don't do that. I can jump on social media any time of the day. I'm like you. I'm on my schedule. I'm on my schedule. I have health care. I do. I have health care, bro. I got dental lifetime. I'm just saying, my people should understand when it comes to this boxing game, stop falling for the okie doke and having this lavish material. Stop living vicariously through individuals to get close to them when there's no way they're going to invite you to the house to break bread. That's real talk. They're not inviting you to break bread. So you can live vicariously through them each and every time they show up and kiss ass all you want. But don't get on my platform talking about you don't suck dick and kiss ass. Like you supposed to be saying that shit to me. And what I say I don't know how to do neither. But when the next time someone reach out and support your son, don't allow the narrative to come out to a black media. When I call it black media, I'm a black man who's covering the sport of boxing. Don't allow that individual who's doing the better good of media to say that he's dick riding your son who hasn't accomplished anything. That should have been checked right away. Don't put people who have never been in charge of anything in their lives a part of your brand to be the mouthpiece. So you're telling me you co-sign on buffoonery like this. You want people to look at you as a boss and that you're making all this money and everything, but you got one of the most immature, incompetent individuals vouching, all because you said that World Combat Sports asked him, have they invited you to their house or to the gym for an interview? You're trying to say at one point in time, you listened to my words and they encouraged you enough to give him the shot. For those of you that didn't know that, that's how it went down. Bill Haney said the reason why he gave H Money a shot is the fact that I asked him. I said, okay, you saying the same fighter's name over and over again. Have they gave you an interview? Have they invited you out to the gym for some media coverage? Have you said come out to Vegas for some so we can break bread? He said when he heard me say that, he had to support him. So he started supporting the guy who's saying that didn't really start supporting Devin Haney. His brother did. So his brother was supporting Devin Haney, and then he started supporting him. Not only that, it was because of me that he got the attention, because I'm that dude who sat up there and asked the questions. Like you want me to sit up here and shit on every other lightweight in the division, and support one fighter. Because for one, he's black, right? Two, you're trying to say he's the best in the lightweight division. And I say that's not true. And then you got all these people just hopping. Where's the group? Where's the energy? I know we're in the holiday season, but I don't see the same group that's over there. Where's everybody at? Like, where's the numbers at? All these so-called numbers. Where's the numbers? That's why people frown and laugh at black people sometimes, because they feel like they should get the easiest one so they can influence them and make sure every time they want them to dance like a puppet, they can do it a cappella. They can use that individual, and they don't know they're being used because they've never been in a leadership position in their life. And then when it's time to discard them, it's very easy. They just let them go and they say, oh shit, I really thought he was fucking with me. No. So Bill, stop playing the people. Stop playing the people, man. You call me a hater congratulator. Guess what? When Devin step up and do what he's supposed to do, you know, when he starts shining in this boxing game, then you would hear from me, because I'm hater congratulator. That's what you said, right? Then I would say congrats. Because I don't have no reason to hate on your son. I met y'all in person and you was good people. But what I'm seeing out here, I'm giving you back what you gave me. You came on my live and you told me some shit that first of all, I was deterred and kicked out from showing your son support. I was told I was dick riding all of a sudden because you was showing up on the screen. And you remember the first time that individual hit you up like you was my pops or something? Like he went and got you because I said Devin Haney was third in the lightweight division. And I say, what you doing getting a grown ass man on me? And I'm saying I'm dick riding. I say, okay. Once again, you know, black people don't know what support is, but they know how to criticize. They don't know how to unite, mesh together, build cohesiveness, but they know how to quickly tear it down before it even gets started. And that's fact, people. Not to go off on a tangent, but that's fact. We have to put this shit to bed. This boxing community It's all year round. We don't come to WCS wondering why I'm responding the way I am, especially doing this Team Williams call out and saying why I'm going in on the person that goes in on everybody else. It ain't shit you can say about me. They say I'm not black. So if I'm black, I have every right to speak about it. You don't come on my platform telling me to check in with another dude just so I can cover your son. No, it don't work that way. You continue not to have Devin Haney accessible to all the people that you're going around here frequently. And see, another thing with my people, I don't understand. Why do you have to have certain channels that are black be able to kiss your ass enough in order for you to say, okay, I go get Devin so y'all can come on, so he can come on and he can get an interview? Aren't we going through a new era where social media and self-promotion is important? Are we not looking at what's going on with Terrence Crawford? Are we not looking at what we just experienced in the pandemic? Are we not trying to start up live gates and see who sell tickets and who don't? At this point in time, Devin Haney is still struggling with ticket sales. So is from a person who's been in a leadership position on the highest level, dealing with high authority, authentic authority, Pentagon authority, wouldn't it be an indication that you want him to get that exposure in boxing? Is it in 2021? Because I don't make New Year's resolution, because if you look at life in general, 12 months is just a simulated calendar to allow us to believe that we actually venturing over to something that's brand new. But actually it's transparent. When the last day of this calendar changes, really there's nothing that you see except a simulated process which has been placed upon us as human beings. That's all. It just allows us to believe that, hey, we're going into 2021. But realistically in life, nothing changes. We want it to change because psychosomatically we have placed ourselves in that position over and over again through life. So we actually believe we're going into another year and something great is going to happen. So I'm asking you all to filter through the bullshit and don't act like you haven't seen it before. If you see bullshit, call it for what it is. That includes me. So Bill Haney, when you got young bulls tugging at the coat, don't think because they black you want to make phone calls and don't give them a shot. I just think that's total bullshit on your part. Like, you're an OG in the game. You're an OG in the game. Why make phone calls? If you don't have an opponent lined up for Devin, now I'm gonna be the type of individual waiting back until you get that opponent. I hope they in the top 25. I hope they outside of the bottom 25. Because you come up here with a name we ain't never heard. Your Devin fan base is going all the way to hell. All the way. If you come up out this motherfucking 21 with an opponent that we don't know about, and you're sitting up here acting like Michael Williams Jr. was garbage, and just because he's black and they have a history and people over there want to call him a bum, and you want to tell half of the story, you better damn well come out the pocket. You better come out the chute running with an opponent that the boxing community respects. Somebody that's in the top 15 at least. If you come out with any other name outside the top 15, watch how quick the boxing community flee the scene. Watch how they abort the mission. It's going to take more than IG, people. I respect the ones that tune in to World Combat Sports to understand that. It takes more than IG when it comes to this boxing game. It takes more than being in a robe on live showing what you've been able to earn in life and allow people to live vicariously through you in order to support your son. That's why I say it's all about him. It's all about him. No one truly knows Devin Haney until he steps out every now and then and does an interview. That's only to the people that's in the good graces that's willing to so-called, like Bill said, suck dick and kiss ass. And I told him immediately, I don't know how to do either. And since I told him that, he hasn't been back around and popped up on WCS because you're talking to a person that's the same age as you, my brother. But I hear you out here talking about, black this, break bread, and I talk to the young brother and all that. But then again, you can't understand what I'm doing the way I'm doing. You can't understand that the person that you selected to talk about your brand, you chose him because he's desperate to be a part of something. I'm not desperate to be a part of anything, never have. So you pick somebody that's desperate and they're willing to do anything and everything. You're like, hey, I give you that crumb. I give you those crumbs, man. I give you a little change, $1.50 here, $2 here, 75 cents here, give you a quarter. Just keep the little rat fed. You know what I'm saying? Keep the rat fed. He'll keep on coming back because really once a rat find food, it don't matter how much they found. It's just the fact they found food. And they'll just keep on coming back to the scene where they found food. And hopefully they can find some more food. That's how it is. Dillian White. What's going on, D-Ray? Lori, what's good? He said Bill will be Devin's downfall. Now, this check this out before I transition. D-Ray said check in with my little nugget first. Oh, check in with my little nugget, man. That's the softer side of it. You know what I'm saying? Back to my man Michael Johnson. He said Loma said he ain't giving Lopez the win. And you don't have to. Just like Canelo Alvarez said he don't see Floyd Mayweather defeat him. All right. And you can be motherfucking delusional all day long, but you got a loss, and that one loss on Canelo's record is against Floyd Mayweather. So he can say he don't recognize it as a loss because he was green and shit, but it's a loss. Vasyl Lomachenko, it's funny how ESPN was trying to omit his loss with Orlando Salido, and then now he loses. He was the one doing the same shit Orlando Salido was doing to him. This motherfucker come up there trying to headbutt, and he was successful. He motherfucker opened up a cut on Teofimo, and Teofimo probably said, "No, I gotta go ahead and dust this motherfucker off because Lomachenko is fighting dirty." So y'all don't sit up here and sugarcoat what Lomachenko is as a person. He's showing his motherfucking true colors. He was up there trying to get a headbutt and a stoppage or whatever he was trying to do. You still would have fucking lost. So he was actually trying to emulate what was done to him. Orlando Salido gave him the business, made it dirty and grimy, and Lomachenko didn't like that shit. Real. That's real, people. Stop sitting up here, chaperoning and micromanaging Lomachenko. Don't babysit him, because when he was on top, people was goddamn giving him credit just for breathing. The man really never stepped into the media and said hardly anything. Never really showed us no love. He can come in there and people say, oh shit, Vasyl Lomachenko headed back to the ring. That's what the black fighters need. It won't happen, but it'd be good if my people would be able to get that same energy. And then they're able to give people that media love. But Lomachenko, man, do not freaking babysit this dude. Do not believe that he won that fight. He did not win that fight against Teofimo Lopez. Absolutely not. No one told you to take the motherfucking first quarter or first semester of the fight off as if you was on freaking leave. You were not on leave. Tio was putting your ass on leave, but nah, You lost the fight, brother. Deal with it. But y'all get what I'm saying about them Haneys. Because I had to clear my name. Because there's some people that were saying some shit. Because Bill keep popping up on all these sites and talking shit to them people, right? You know, and doing what he's doing. He's able to walk around his own house all day long. I get it, bro. But you ain't talking to a young one that ain't been around the block myself. I've been all over the world. I've been to more places than Bill has in life. I've been into the gutters of overseas. I mean, I'm talking about the crevices, the alleys. Anybody tell me I didn't goddamn earn my shit to walk out the door with 20 years? Okay, I'm gonna look at you and laugh and walk the fuck away because I just don't have time to defend it. But call the buffoonery for what it is. Don't be taking advantage like that, man. Devin is not the best lightweight. He still has to prove himself first and foremost. And I think a lot of people will put it to bed when Devin Haney finally steps in the ring and defeats a champion. Now, do I believe for skill, skill for skill? Listen to my words, as I always keep it. Skill for skill, do I believe Teofimo Lopez will lose to Devin Haney? I do not. I do not believe that. I don't believe it. And what's extremely bad, and remember I told you this, what's extremely a difficult situation for people to digest moving forward in 2021 with Team Haney is the fact if he chooses to move up to 140. A lot of what I'm talking about right now will become a Polaroid. It's not prognosticating negativity. I'm just saying when he moves up to the 140 division and he doesn't hit a growth spurt or nothing physically changes about him, because from what I see with his team, they're trying to keep him with speed. So they're not really having him on weights like that. If you look at the picture that was up there with Michael Williams Jr. from his old picture, him boxing himself with Roy Jones over in the corner, Roy was training the old Michael Williams to the new Michael Williams. You can see his body structure is different than his old body structure. But the difference between Michael Williams Jr. and Devin Haney is, of course, the level for which they're at right now in boxing, being signed to the over there, and then being independent. But you look at the physical structure, Michael Williams is much stronger physically when you put the eye test. He has more power when it comes to watching him compete. A lot of people are blind. They're impaired. They're visually impaired to say, okay, he will go in there. Look, this is what they say. He will go in there. I read the comments. They say he'll fuck Michael Williams up. He'll do this. You know, he'll knock him out. And I'm telling myself, well, he just fought a 12-0 fighter in Santiago, and he went the distance with him. He just fought a 39-year-old Gamboa and went the distance. So how all of a sudden he's gonna knock out Michael Williams Jr. just because he don't have the name and the status quo as the Haneys? See, you know what it is, people? Is that Bill is very afraid to give that shot. And check this out. This is how I'm right. Hear me out. Roy Jones Jr. is training Michael Williams Jr., right? Along with Roy Jones Jr. legendary status and his team, goes in there and builds the fight up with Devin Haney. When they do square off, it's going to be somewhat similar to Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith. But what I can assure you, the outcome in the ring will be much different. That's all I'm trying to convey to the smart listeners out there. Power We got it. Devin don't have any power. As much as Bill want to get on here and talk about Devin don't have no more power and make it a smart. Hey, give us the guy with the power. Put him all over the flyers. Give us the guy with the power. And they basically saying they're going there and outbox him. Yeah, Paulie Malignaggi was able to pick up a couple of championships, right? You heard what Roy said, right? Roy said you don't have power, it's going to be difficult for you to go far in the sport of boxing. Now, being that at one point in time when they was making their stops and rounds, the Haney's actually was trained by Roy. It's footage out there. But you just can't sit up here and put the suitcase down, grab a little bit of shit, throw it in the suitcase and keep moving. And then say, okay, we're going to build upon this each and every time. Let's go. Let's stop at TMT. Let's see what they got. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's go. We ain't going to stop right here. There's too much going on. We're going to do our own thing. So we taking bits and pieces of all these people. So I'm telling you, they must have not listened to what Floyd told Brian Kenny. They must have not listened. Devin may be a boxer of many traits, but a master of none. He may be a boxer of many traits because he's been around the block or two, but a master of none. And that's going to hurt to hear. He's going to be a master of it when he starts consistently going in here fighting top competition and running the gauntlet with a Nakatani, Comey, and Lomachenko. And I asked several people already. I said, do you believe that Devin Haney could have ran that same gauntlet with Nakatani, Richard Comey, and Vasyl Lomachenko? Could Devin Haney, who they were saying that Teofimo got his ass beat against Nakatani, the same Nakatani who went up there life and limb, showing you that heart, y'all. That grit. That motherfucking dogmatic. He's showing you he got that resilience. He got the heart of a champion. Going down twice from freaking Felix Verdejo to end up stopping him. Do you think Devin Haney can beat Nakatani? If you do, why don't you just put a bug in his ear next time Bill show up to the live and say, Bill, why don't you get Devin, since y'all say y'all got like a couple of fights left, and Teofimo, they acting like they really don't want to give you that love. Why don't you face a Nakatani or Vasyl Lomachenko? Because both of those oppositions, Teofimo Lopez has fought already. Or better yet, just take that 100,000, which Michael Williams Sr. gave you, which is very easy money for y'all because y'all millionaires, right? Y'all got the bank. Y'all putting 400K, 500K up in the damn dash. So 100K ain't nothing. Oh, my fault. Bill said so check this out, good brother. So we supposed to give Michael 100,000. Who gonna pay Devin? What? Now you're trying to run game on the boxing correspondence that you've been a part of for years. You know how that work. You think Michael Williams, the B-side, is supposed to pay for Devin? Y'all the ones making the millions, right? So how in the fuck we're gonna say 100,000, and you say, okay, cool. Y'all's about to give Gary Russell 1.5, right? Did you ask Gary Russell who's gonna pay Devin? See what I'm look, see what I'm getting to, people. When the shit was about Gary Russell, he called out freaking Terrence Crawford. You know it was all about the cap, right? Because if Gary Russell was sitting up here giving that, he said he gave that to Terrence Crawford because it was personal. Then Team Haney decides to say, okay, we'll give you that. So how foolish would it have been to say you would give Gary Russell what he's asking for Terrence Crawford? Did you turn around and send them an inbox message and say, so how Devin getting paid? Y'all see what I'm talking about? Y'all see the bullshit I'm talking about? When Gary Russell fiasco was going on, and Gary was serious about it. Gary Russell keeping that shit A1. He wanted to fight. But Team Haney, once again, who was capping from the beginning, had no intentions of dropping the November 7th date with Gamboa. They had no intentions. But what was genius of Bill to do was just provide that free publicity, finesse all the channels that he could to get the publicity out there. And it's no disrespect to the channel. Salute to them. He went around from channel to channel and channel, day in and day out, to build that publicity, build up the numbers and all that, get that exposure out there, knowing that the fight was never going to happen between Devin Haney and Gary Russell, because Gary Russell would have lit Devin Haney ass up. Devin Haney wouldn't have had a chance against Gary Russell moving up from featherweight. So I'm asking myself, what's wrong now? It's not up to me to advocate for Gary Russell because they got a boxing family. They can do that. But, the only fight I'm advocating right now is the fact that you didn't give Michael Williams Jr. a shot only for $100,000. We clout chasing, right? All of a sudden, it's clout chasing. When Gary Russell called your ass out, it's clout chasing, right? That's what Team Haney's talking about. It's clout chasing. And Gary Russell do it. Team Williams doing it. Everybody's clout chasing. But what did you just hear Bill say on the Boxing Voice? You talked to Bob. Did you ask him about Fasil? Are y'all willing to fight Fasil? Crickets. We want T.O. So let me get this straight. I want to get this straight. Team Williams is clout chasing. Devin jumps on here and talking about you want a shot at my title, and you ain't fought nobody. Right? I'm gonna get back to that motherfucker. Woo, I'm gonna get back to that point right there. You ain't fought nobody. Going in on social media, all upset, going on a 10-mile run at night. We had Devin all in his feelings. Then Gary Russell, he's clout chasing. He's clout chasing all of a sudden. And that's the wrong person to say clout chasing, because G Russell get on here and he keep it short, quick, simple, and he out. He clout chasing. So all these people clout chasing. So what in the fuck are you doing right now with Teofimo Lopez? What are you doing with Teofimo Lopez? Because if you wasn't clout chasing Teofimo Lopez, you would fight one of his common opponents like they pushing in the welterweight division. They want Crawford so bad to fight Sean Porter, a common opponent of Errol Spence, just so he can validate his good standing. So Kell Brook wasn't good enough. Now they want Sean Porter. So back to what I was saying initially. Why are y'all clout chasing Teofimo Lopez? You can very well chase Williams Jr. and into the inbox, because y'all pretty familiar with the inbox. Devin, you can't jump on IG and post luxury vehicles when your freaking box wreck is in the ghetto, my brother. You have an impoverished box wreck right now. For you to be living outside your means on social media, and they ask who you are, but yet when they check online and they find out that your box wreck is undervalued, is underwhelming, then right then and there should tell you that's going to affect you moving on in the sport of boxing. I had to touch on that. I didn't put Bill number one because I'm not going in any particular order. But when I read all this shit, I get some good shit too. Because believe it or not, I'm not out here, bashing them and all. I don't have energy for that. I am understanding for the people to digest what I'm saying. Understand it to a point where it's articulated in a certain way that you know that I'm speaking about what's out there. I'm not being, ignis fatuus. I'm not misleading anyone, nor am I sitting up here being extremely ex parte, which is biased. I'm not doing that. I'm just basically putting the point out there that you have my people who will continue to say clout chasing and cliche terminologies all the fucking time, but now they have backed themselves in a corner where they wanted to go the WBC route, which failed miserably. It imploded. It came crumbling down to the ground. Now that you have become world champion via email, once again, Bill corrected me when I said in proper terms, I said, well, he was elevated. And you say, no, hold up, hold up. Why would you correct me on something that is absolutely true? Because you feel at that point in time, it was up to you to try to have control of the situation. And see, being out of respect and patient, I allowed you to explain the bullshit. What does elevation mean if you are going from the interim title to the damn super title? What does it mean? You're elevated. You are assuming a position higher than the one you're currently in. So what is the problem? You don't like when people say Devin's been 3-time email champion. You don't like that? Then fight a champion. But know this. You all jumped in the WBC with a plan. And therefore, you've proven to the people that you don't make very good decisions, because that did not get you any closer to proving to the people that you're the best in the lightweight division. Team Lopez went a different alternative route, picked up more steam and fuel along the way, along with a championship title, and it brought them to the destination for which they was looking for with all the damn checks and balances. And that, my friends, is called mission accomplishment. That shit right there is called mission accomplishment. So let me break that shit down just a little bit more, people. And I said I was going to get off Bill Haney's neck, but check this out, though. Once again, I will have my people talking about, I'm going in on another black man. So what the fuck is Bill doing? What are they doing? They don't really fuck with blacks when it comes to boxing. They want you to do the leg work, my people. But they don't want to really sit up here and say, you know what? I show love to this person each and every day. This is what it's all about. Let me show this boxer love, this black. You can't say you show your people love when it comes to Devin's box rec. You got to go out here and goddamn put in some legislation for affirmative action. But y'all take a look at Devin's box rec. Where are the brothers at? Are you not trying to give the brothers a shot? Where are the brothers at when it comes to Devin Haney's box rec? Where are the black fighters at? Black people are good enough to speak on your son out here in media, but they're not good enough to fight him, huh? I'm just trying to break it down so people can understand that I'm treating us as a group of intelligent individuals that fully encapsulate in the message that I'm trying to send to you. I'm trying to tell you, Devin Haney's lifestyle is lavish, but his box rec is in the motherfucking hood. He's trying to convince, Team Haney is trying to convince people that if I show you money, we're progressing together as one, and that is not the case. You're not progressing together as one because I don't find too many brothers on your box rec. You know how many black fighters is out there? Oh man, leave them alone. Fight the Mexican fighters. I'm not confused, but I'm just saying for those of you that may not know, just take a peek. Because when it comes to my people, we you know, I saw the young brother, and you know, he black, and you know, we have to grow together as one with what's going on out here in society. We have to get together and become a unit. We have to converge with one another. We have to communicate. We have to fellowship. But then it's all about IG. No, show the boxing public that you really the best fighter out here. It's nothing personal with me. I don't even know you like that. But when you try to attempt to take a grown ass man without checking the one that you have vouching for you, you have to say that you know somebody's out here that's done good in life. You respect what they've done. And when it comes to this media shit, you're telling me that just because of what I said to another black man out of encouragement to show him how the game is really being played, that has he been out there invited to an interview? Has he been invited to the gym? Has he been invited to break bread? And you act like I was chastising him. It doesn't make any sense, does it, people? But remember what I said now. Michael Williams Jr. in the building. What's good, bro? What's good? I just want to apologize to the people. You know, Michael Williams Jr. is in the building. He happened to be the recipient of the Duck Masters Coalition when it comes to Devin Haney. So I really have to apologize for the people not being able to see one of those good fights for 2021. Because look, stun on IG goes all wrong. That's what you would have seen in 2021 if they would have accepted the little small 100,000 because they millionaires. You know what I'm saying? They millionaires. So the 100,000 would have been easy work for them. Easy. They millionaires. Look, you posting up in the dash more than what we was asking. You posting that Amazon currency up in the dash more than what we was asking. So I'm asking you, the boxing world, to make sure you pay attention to his next opponent, so you can call bullshit if it's not the top 15. Because I'm gonna tell you how they're gonna play it. Team Haney is not going to either one take an opponent if they get the fight with Teofimo Lopez, or for two, they don't have a confidence in Devin Haney facing a tough opposition on the way to that fight. So they're gonna bring somebody else out of target, but yet they're not gonna give Michael Williams Jr. a shot. You know what I'm saying? That's how it plays out for them. Remember, I told you that shit. But make sure y'all follow Michael Williams Jr., man. Go check him out on IG. Michael Williams, the boxer. Get those subscribers up, get those followers up on IG, man. Future world champion in the building. We called out Devin Haney. He didn't want it. They wanted to make it about money. They wanted to make it about a box wreck. When in fact, his box wreck has the residue for which he's trying to act like he's above. He hasn't earned that right yet. Money doesn't mean you earn the right. Stun on IG doesn't mean you earn the right in the sport of boxing. That just means that you're in a position where you're earning money enough to buy materialistic things. But at the end of the day, if your ass was to stop boxing right now, you wouldn't be able to maintain that lifestyle for the next 5 years. That is fact. So since that is the case, you should go ahead and just put that 100,000 that you put in the dash and not ask a stupid question on who's going to pay Devin Haney. You didn't ask Gary Russell that shit. So why the hell are you going to ask a fighter that's independent who's going to pay Devin Haney? That is some bullshit, and y'all should call it for what it is, people. Don't forget I told you that. Sir Ken say Michael Williams Jr. salute, keep God first, and everything else will fall into place. Merry Christmas. Well, I appreciate that, Sir Ken. You know what it is. Dillian White And I'm gonna stay briefly on Dillian White before I get to the Deontay Wilder haters. But make sure y'all go over there to IG and follow Michael Williams Jr., the boxer. That's all you have to do. Bring in 2021 the right way and understand he's Roy Jones trained. He can actually box and fight. Just because he isn't flaunting materialistic things on IG doesn't mean he can't go in there and whoop Devin Haney's ass. And know for a fact, Bill understands the risk that he will have to take. So when they come out with this next opponent, y'all, when they come out, I'm putting the APB out. Look at the next opponent. If they don't get this Teofimo Lopez fight, listen to what I'm telling you. Make sure you check out the rankings of his next opponent. And when you do, go back to Michael Williams Jr. and say, so damn, y'all wouldn't even give a brother a shot. But you about to go over here to Belgium. They about to go in the back motherfucking woods of Germany, Ukraine, Russia. They trying to go into the damn the credits of Rocky V in the snow and shit. We're over here to look for a fighter. Say 10-0 to 15-0. Do you have one? Oh, of course we have fighter. What you want to do? You want to pay for him to go back to the States? What is he? What you building up record? How much you willing to pay? We'll pay him. We'll pay him 100,000. Oh, that's fine. Oh, you go take it? You'll take it? Okay, cool. We'll pay for hotel. I get with the guy named Eddie, and he'll take care of everything. But 100,000 is cool. Okay, so they come back over here with that a fighter we ain't never heard of out the snow and the backwoods that has an O on his record, who's never fought in the U.S. And we're gonna hear Bill get on here. You know what? When we found this fighter, he was undefeated. He was ranked in the organization. And we say, you know, the fighters in the top 25 and the bottom 25, they wasn't trying to fight Devin. So we went over here behind the shed in the backwoods of Ukraine, you know, next to the warehouse, from 50 feet from the church bell. And we know he was a good fella. You know, he's just been waiting his opportunity. So we say, why not Team Haney give this individual an opportunity? Let's bring him over here to the U.S., show him a good time, give him some oatmeal and shrimp, you know what I'm saying, and some filet mignon and some caviar, feed him up nice, you know what I'm saying, get him in the ring. Devin gets that O, takes his record, and then send him back over there to where he came from. That's about what you will see from Team Haney. Take him for a ride in a new, you know, luxury vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Introduce him to some important people. That's about it, people. Dillian White is one of the most disappointing fighters on this entire list, disappointing individual on this entire list. Any one of you if basically tuned in from when I actually began to start lives, I've been pretty consistent. I was pretty consistent with Anthony Joshua, which proved to be correct, robotic and everything else. You know, his beard is suspect. And I wasn't being overly facetious when I said that it was packed with confetti and then wet styrofoam. So therefore, Dillian White comes into the equation because, believe it or not, Dillian White, when he fought Anthony Joshua, the first loss he took, he actually had Anthony Joshua in trouble at one point. You know what I'm saying? This when Anthony Joshua was all bulked up, no cardio and shit. So Dillian White went in there when Anthony Joshua, before he was a champion, and went pillar to post and ended up getting stopped. So as much as I've watched that fight over and over, I just found that Dillian White as a fighter, he doesn't really have patience. But he really isn't, that smart when it comes to boxing. It has nothing to do with ring IQ. As an individual that's competing in combat sports, and Dillian White's a big dude. He don't have when he's in the heat of the moment. A fighter has to fight for themselves. Dillian Whyte doesn't have the proper decision making, um, how you put it, relay switch on when he should switch momentum, when he should pop the jab out there, when he should put his combination, keep the correct distance, when he should make changes to benefit him as a fighter, and then try to get back into the groove on what he was trying to do initially. Let's say, for instance, if Dillian Whyte was trying to fight in the pocket against Anthony Joshua because he felt he could knock him out. If he did it and he was able to have success, but then Joshua ended up changing the momentum to come back on him, then just switch it up, create space a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Work your punches from a distance. Keep your bicycle, keep your wheels spinning. You know what I'm saying? Just get away from it. Give Anthony Joshua a different look, and then re-enter the same game plan you had initially. Dillian Whyte is not that smart. Dillian Whyte, he smells the opportunity. He has a little bit of success, and all shit go to hell. All shit go to hell. He's been talking that shit about getting a fight with Deontay Wilder for the longest. Deontay, where are you at? I'm here. Deontay, where are you at? I'm here. And I always said, right? I said, Dillian, you are in close proximity to the fighter who is campaigning in the same weight class as yourself, who has the titles, and you're campaigning for Deontay Wilder, who's over here in the States. So you willing to come over here to the States, or you want Deontay to come over to the UK at the time? Either way, why are you not campaigning for another shot now that Anthony Joshua has the belts? Why are they not considering you to be a worthy opponent to step back in there with Anthony Joshua? Why aren't you getting a shot, man? Did you ask yourself that? Why aren't you getting a shot with a champion, a unified champion in the same division that you're competing in? Why are they not considering you, Dillian Whyte, to step back in there with Anthony Joshua? You need to ask yourself that. At the time, you was only with one loss. So why call out Deontay Wilder with the mindset that you have? The hardest hitter in boxing, and Dillian Whyte, who proved my point exactly. My point exactly. He's proven it with other fighters. He's proven it with Joseph Parker. He's proven it with Derek Chisora. He's proven it, people. He's proven it as of recent with Alexander Povetkin. He dropped Alexander Povetkin twice. What did Dillian Whyte do? Instead of just focusing, maintaining, sustaining focus, he's on the brink of one of the biggest victories in his professional boxing career. And he's steadily trying to get a fight with Deontay Wilder. But that's no longer the goalpost. Now, Dillian Whyte is trying to get a fight with the current WBC champion, Tyson Fury. What that would have done for Dillian Whyte is basically gave him his biggest payday and also provided him the opportunity to fight for a championship. Not the interim. We're talking about the WBC world title. He allows Alexander Povetkin to come back and knock him out with a cold. I'm talking about a cold. That uppercut was cold. Alexander Povetkin took that motherfucking uppercut out the freezer, y'all. You know when you grab some meat out the freezer, that shit brick hard, and you take that motherfucking meat and slap somebody in the head with, it's like a damn rock. It's like a stone. It's like a piece of metal. Alexander Povetkin took that motherfucker out the freezer. Pop, pop. He landed that uppercut on Dillian Whyte, highlight reel, knockout, sleep. So Dillian Whyte does as Dillian does. You know what I'm saying? Dillian Whyte does what Dillian Whyte does. He goes into an interview after being knocked senseless, And he said, I just got caught. Not like I was getting beat round after round. I just got caught. Not like I was getting beat round after round. Who says that? You just got caught because you put yourself in a predicament to be caught, my brother. Dylan White, you place yourself in a predicament to be caught. Because if you knock Alexander Povetkin down and you feel like you're degrading Alexander Povetkin. He's the older fighter. He's right where he need to be. Just let the knockout come to you. Be patient, but yet aggressive. And Dillian White gets caught with an uppercut. And he's a recipient of the land of the nod. How do you get closer to competing for a world title if you are proving to the people that you are the heavyweight Danny Garcia? I'm just saying, Dillian, how do you get in front of a camera after calling, Deontay a coward and he don't want to face you and all this other shit, right? And then being lined up for Tyson Fury's belt, right? You in a perfect place. And you and the very next day when your mind is probably still discombobulated. You know what I'm saying? You have particles floating around in that empty space. It's looking like a Star Trek movie. And they say 3, 2, 1, action. Dillian, you just off your fight with Alexander Povetkin, yeah? Yeah? So take us through it up to the point where you earned the 2 knockdowns and you give a good account of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And basically you was in a position to potentially face the mandatory for Tyson Fury, yeah? You know what I mean? He was looking forward to that, right? So therefore, you step in here with Alexander Povetkin. You're able to give him 2 blistering, massive punches to the breadbasket. Yeah? So what happened? Dillian, take us through the moment where Alexander Povetkin knocks you out cold, senseless. Take us through that moment. Well, to be honest, I can't really say, to be honest. I don't remember, to be honest. I mean, I just know that when I did come to, I was looking up at the lights. And all I saw was just all these lights. And I started counting them. And then some sheep that start jumping over the lights. And then it was some GTRs, drifting through the openings of the lights. I just saw a lot of things, the miscellaneous things. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was so much going on. But how did it look from the outside looking in? Or was I really asleep on the bottom rope? Please explain to me. I don't know. Dillian White, man. You must have made a mockery of yourself over there because you were so close to getting that shot with Tyson Fury for the WBC title. Soon as you lost, Mauricio Suleiman said that Tyson Fury has a clean route, a clean pathway to fight Anthony Joshua for the unified titles, if indeed they're able to fight. They quickly move your ass out the way after you being knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. Then, Dillian, you're going to turn back around after being crushed, and you're going to say you want a rematch. Which your team, when it comes to boxing, sometimes your team can show you just how much they love you. You know what I'm saying? They can show you just how much they love you. I mean, I'm talking about loving you like an old pair of boots that you leave outside. They're too dirty to come on the inside, but so you leave them outside. They just have all this residue and mud on them. So you leave them outside. And then, when you want to use them, you're doing a little work on the yard. You just take those those boots, you beat them on the pavement, make sure there ain't nothing inside them. You slide them on, go complete your chore, and then when you come in, you leave them outside the door because they're too dirty to come on the inside. So basically, when it comes down to your team not telling you 3 months isn't enough time, Dillian, you should take heed to that, my brother. You should take heed. You got knocked out cold. Because everything I do, it has a lead up point, right? So Dillian White gets knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. And thank God, somehow, some way, Alexander Povetkin, the fight is pushed back because Alexander Povetkin comes down with COVID-19. And then they rescheduled the fight for early this year. And then all of a sudden, Alexander Povetkin still has COVID. Oh, shit. Alexander Povetkin has this extended COVID, goddammit. So the fight has just been pushed back. And I tell people, I say, I don't think it was so much Alexander Povetkin with COVID. Why is he having an extended length of time with COVID to push this fight back? It makes no sense to me. So I'm just curious to know why, in fact, it's the way it is. What's going on, Kawi? Key say, now that's some bullshit. Why haven't Bill Haney let Devin Haney fight guys like Javier Fortuna, Jorge Linares, Richard Comey, or even Nakatani, who just knocked out the Puerto Rican knockout artist instead of Gamboa? It's ridiculous at best. I would definitely get back after I finish this. Good question there, Keith. Good question. Good, solid question, man. I will get right back to it. So Dillian White, the fight between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White has somewhat festered. Like, we don't even know what's going on with that. Like, even if it's a fight date out there, are people really looking forward to it? Yeah, it's some people that's looking forward to it, especially myself, because I just want to take a look at it because Dillian White is so freaking funny to me. I want to see him step back in there and do what Dillian does. You know what I'm saying? Do what Dillian does. That's all I want to see. Are you going to be able to go make the right decisions now? Because look, let me tell you something, people. And it's not even a gym. It's just the reality of it. The resume of Alexander Povetkin was obviously one of the best opposition he's faced in his boxing career. So for you to be ahead with 2 knockdowns on someone like Alexander Povetkin, with the opportunity to have his name on your resume, and you say, you know, I just got caught, not like I was getting beat round after round, tells me that it's a little bit more going on in your boxing mental blade than we know about. It's something that you're not retaining when it comes to a sport where you have to compete one-on-one with your opponent. It's a lot that's going on for you to say that. It's a lot. You just don't get it. You cannot go life and limb in the heavyweight division and just say, you know what? I'm just going to give it everything I got. If I get chinned, I get chinned. That's not the mentality that you should have in the heavyweight division, bro. If you're trying to fight for a title. So we wait until Dillian White comes back around and see how he performs in that fight. That's the only thing I can tell you. I really can't go any further than that. You know what I'm saying? I really can't give Dillian White any credit to say how he's going to perform in there. He's going to go in there and look good. But it's so much that I'm not hearing off Dillian White getting knocked out. Dillian White was stopped by Anthony Joshua. Dillian White was stopped by Alexander Povetkin. But there's no outcry like the last person on my list for Deontay Wilder. There's no outcry. It's not people that's saying, oh, Dillian White. You know why they're not saying it? Because they really don't care. They actually cared a little bit more to see Deontay Wilder lose. That's why they want to make such a big deal about him finally losing and everything that went along with that loss. They just want to make a big deal about it. But for Dillian White, he's over there across the pond. They just don't want to make a big deal out of it because they really truly didn't care if he won or lost. Now, if he would have fought Deontay Wilder, then it would have been a different story. They would have had two brothers. Believe me, they would have had two brothers to choose again. All right? Believe me, for somebody who's been to the fights. If Dillian White and Deontay Wilder would have fought in the States, then you would have had people cheering for Deontay Wilder. But when it comes to Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury, they're going to cheer for Tyson Fury because they proved that in two different locations. And people want to make a big deal about, calling out certain race cars and prejudice and all that. Man, that is life in general. It's not just boxing channels. You can't relegate it to boxing channels. This is life. This is what we're going through. To Keith Kawi's statement. So what Bill Haney said was Javier Fortuna pulled out of the fight. Javier Fortuna, Luke Campbell, and all them cats was in the WBC for this supposedly tournament, right? So, Team Lopez is the only smart, segue unit in the group, and they choose to take an alternate route to IBF. So Javier Fortuna, they were saying that they kind of put the request out there that he didn't want to take the fight. And then Jorge Linares, of course, would be a very tough fight for Devin Haney. Very tough fight. But once again, his name really haven't registered. You know what I'm saying? There really hasn't been any type of remediated call out to Jorge Linares. Now, Jorge Linares fits the MO of Team Haney's resume. He's not a brother. So he fits the resume. See, Richard Comey didn't fit the resume. Richard Comey was over there in the IBF. Devin Haney didn't have a championship just yet. Lopez beat him to the punch. So he was able to scoop up that title from Richard Comey, who's from Guyana. Shout out to Richard Comey. Good guy. And then how dare them to even consider calling out Masayoshi Nakatani. It would have been all bad. In Japanese, dame. Dame anatagata. Dame anatagata. See. You understand Espanol? No? Nakatani would have had the goddamn height on that ass, boy. At reach. You take the Nakatani we just seen, the Nakatani that faced Lopez. Oh, my God. Y'all be real with yourself. Is what Keith just mentioned, is it not the same thing that I'm talking about? Like, why haven't they pretty much stepped in there with Javier Fortuna and been calling out the Javier Fortunas? And make sure you offer them a nice little bag to step in there with Devin Haney. But they say Javier Fortuna didn't want to fight. Jorge Linares really wasn't mentioned like that. That's a tough fight. You talking about the same Jorge Linares that freaking, sat Vasyl Lomachenko down. Exclude Nakatani. That's too much of a risk. Now, this is what I want y'all to understand too. This is a gem, okay? This is another gem I'm putting out there. All right? This is what I want y'all to look at too. The next Devin Haney opponent, look at the height and reach of the opponent. They're going to make sure the composition is beneficial for Devin Haney. You're not going to see a Robert Easter. You're not going to see a Robert Easter. I wish Robert Easter was still at 35. I really do. I wish Robert Easter Bunny would come back down here to 35. I want to see them in there with somebody like Robert Easter. See them in there with somebody like Nakatani. And see how he handles a taller fighter. Since when he stepped in there with Teofimo Lopez, Tio was getting his ass whooping. He was, going through all this sorts of type of trouble. But yet, the body compositions, the dimensions of the fighters that they're selecting to step in there with Devin Haney is pretty much equal to lower stature than he is. They want him to have the advantage. And that, my friends, is where Team Haney their progress and success in the sport of boxing would be impeded. They will have a much more tougher fight once they start taking on these taller, rangier fighters, and like Michael Williams Jr. That's exactly what they're gonna run into. A jab. Stop acting like talking that knockout stuff. No. Haney has knockout power, but just in case you didn't know, it's on the motherfucking virtual. It's he pick up the controller, he hit the right goddamn cheat code on that motherfucker, and his whoever he's playing with, they might be able to knock their opponent out. But when it comes to Devin Haney, he's not proven to the boxing masses that he has that power, y'all. What's going on, Luke Walker? What's good? Now he talked about Nakatani, who just knocked out the Puerto Rican knockout artist, right? We're talking about the Nakatani who took 2 freaking knockdowns. I mean, oh my God, the second knockdown, the way Felix Verdejo set him up with that right hand, and we're talking about it wasn't even fully extended. He was able to drop Nakatani, right? That's another layer. How Devin Haney is going to handle adversity like Felix Verdejo did, like Masayoshi Nakatani did. How's Devin Haney going to handle that adversity? We really don't know. And when it comes to Bill, when he gets on here, he's going to say some stuff like, well, you put them on the flyer, you know what I'm saying? They'd be the A side. You give us all the power. They can be the A side to give us all the power. You say they got power. Okay, cool. So they're basically saying they're gonna you put them in there with power, and we're gonna outbox them. Trying to give you that Floyd shit. You put them in there, and I'm saying to people every day, if you're gonna use Floyd Mayweather as a verbal imprint, why didn't you sign with them? Why? Why didn't you sign? If you're trying to be like Floyd, call out Gervonta Davis. Call out Gervonta Davis, because what better way to go than to fight Floyd Mayweather's cash cow and Gervonta Davis? But anyway, that's not about them. We're talking about. And then look, let's Felix Verdejo. I know he was just let go by Top Rank. I know that. But damn, the way he looked, that might even be a pretty decent fight. To be honest with you, that might be a pretty decent fight. But at the end of the day, lavish lifestyle on IG when your box rec is living in poverty. Lavish lifestyle on IG while your box rec is living in poverty. Remember that, boxing fans. Devin Haney may show you a block of money and a new vehicle, but check out his box rec. Check what's parked in that garage. Just go ahead and check it out. That's all you have to do. Check out that box rec. That chick is in the ghetto. That's the Carter. That's all that is. That motherfucker in the box rec, that's the Carter right there. Bill's trying to be Nino Brown. That's all that is. We want to see you select opponent for 2021 that's in the top 15. Because you said the top 25 and the bottom 25 didn't want to face Devin Haney. You know the deal. Next, the last on my list, Deontay Wilder. This 2020 year has absolutely been a year where we've seen the heavyweight champion lose his title. It was one of the most epic fights of 2020 in February the 22nd at the MGM Grand, and we all seen what happened. Now, of course, the speculation will always be a talking point on these media segues about the glove situation, whether he had an egg weight in there, the accusations that was placed by Deontay Wilder, having a dent in his head, his ear, not feeling the same on that night. Just a lot of variables that all came together on that night pertaining to both fighters, right? But in the end, the towel was thrown in. Tyson Fury did not stop Deontay Wilder. All right. The towel was thrown in and the referee stopped the fight. People really need to understand and clear their heads to just make the commitment to understand that the towel was thrown in, and it wasn't a stoppage, as if they're keep on giving Tyson Fury that credit for knocking out Deontay Wilder. Yeah, the fight was stopped, corner stoppage, but it's the weakest way to get a knockout when it comes down to it, because your corner threw in the towel when Deontay Wilder was still fighting. But this is the point I'm trying to make with the Deontay Wilder haters. If there's ever two words that come up in a boxing conversation that you want to see all the racist individuals and prejudice and discrimination and all this type of talk register on the surface, you bring up Deontay Wilder's name, and you will get the same people saying the same thing. They won't say Deontay Wilder's fans, but they will say the Dick Riders are fanboys. But yet when it comes to Tyson Fury, they seem like we have nothing but praise, and we laud Tyson Fury for being able to accomplish what he accomplished. Forget everything else Tyson Fury has done in life that's considered mischievous, criminal. Forget that. All they seeing is a neighboring fighter in Tyson Fury returning back to the sport with a mental illness as his lead, and allowing that shit to smoke up the motherfucking place of individuals like it's a hookah joint. And people up here is like, oh man, that's why he left the sport. It was mental illness, dude. Hey, can I get another hit? Oh yeah. Man, all this time, man, I just didn't know. Tyson Fury, all the time he was just struggling. He was just needing all help, man. He was just reaching. He was just asking for help. He was depressed. So you take everything that Tyson Fury was able to do, not defending the belts and all that stuff you heard, and you bring him into an equation where we have now a rivalry between him and Deontay Wilder. And even leading into the first fight, the hatred, the vitriol, the venom, the vilification, the energy that people will put in here and get personal and bring racism into the equation each and every time. All because, you want to continue to say Deontay Wilder made a video that was oriented with the African theme. Being a black man from Tuscaloosa, I mean, he don't have to ask permission to do that shit. So people's like, why did he do that? Why is he more approachable he is approachable. And I'm not diving into this narrative for you all to hear me say what I've said before, but I never witnessed him in public, face to face, do anything that a lot of these people on social media accuse him of. Never. He is my modern day Muhammad Ali. A lot of people, when they hear that, they say, oh, you can't compare him to Muhammad Ali. I'm not comparing him to Muhammad Ali. I'm just saying in person, I've seen him give the fans. He's trying to be the people's champ. He's being polite. Even with his people around, he's still polite. And you're talking about someone who have the heavyweight boxing credentials and went out here and got it done with going in there for his 11th defense and defended 5.5 years. I mean, reigned as champion. So therefore, I look at it like this. When I hear the racism come up, people want to just make it all about racism and try to convolute what he's accomplished in the sport. Those are the whiners. Those are one of the biggest whiners. Even though I say Deontay Wilder for last, it was intentionally done because those are the biggest whiners that you will listen to on social media. Every time Deontay Wilder's name come up, according to what channel you're on, the same people, all it takes is one, and then you will filter out the ones who come up here, and they would try their best to to denigrate Deontay Wilder, the famous name and everything else. But yet when you bring up Tyson Fury's past, they really try to say, no, we ain't talking about what's old. We're talking about what's now. Tyson Fury didn't have no, his glove wasn't messed up. It wasn't this, that, and the other. So if that is the case, why is it pictures out there with his hand wrap showing? Because when a fighter fights, the tape that is placed around the bottom half of the glove is there to cover up. It's supposed to be placed and applied to the bottom of the glove to a point where that glove isn't shifting all around like that. But if you look at Tyson Fury, left hand, you see the bottom of his hand wrap. Why? Why is the bottom of his hand wraps? Anyway, I'm not here to get into all that. I'm just saying that when the conversation arises about Deontay Wilder, people dig very deep. I'm talking about with a motherfucking mental excavator. They would go deep into wet mud. They would take that motherfucker like we hunting for diamonds. Racist. They would create shit about Deontay Wilder. And I think it's just a travesty when it comes to society in general and to boxing. That now the US of A is left without, at the present time, a US heavyweight champion, an American heavyweight champion. We are without once again. And it's as much as we get on here and talk about this boxing shit all the time, I don't think people are really aware that there's no US heavyweight champion right now holding the belts. We have 2 UK fighters that's holding the main belts in the heavyweight division. It's not the fact that they're not aware of it. I don't think it is actually my fault. I had to check something. I don't think the severity of the situation has pinched them enough. You know what I'm saying? They don't really understand how seriousness that is. I mean, how serious it is. We are without a heavyweight champion over here in the US again. But yet you had the fools that was out here lighting up the torches and freaking marching on the character of Deontay Wilder when he was champion and keep saying the same shit over again. He don't do that. He just got a right hand. He just have a this and that, the other. You didn't want to have nothing good to say about the brother. Now we are without. We don't have one. So how stupid is it? When he was the reigning champion, how stupid it is to say you're a hardcore boxing fan, but yet you're not out here, supporting the fighters that's over here into the US. But yet, when somebody is supporting a US fighter, we have these empty-minded individuals that say, why can't we support the fighters over there in the UK? You can, but don't sit up here and try to deteriorate what we have over here in the US when it comes to certain boxers that have earned their spot on the highest level and we supposed to support. Well, I like Anthony Joshua. Okay, you can like Anthony Joshua. But once again, don't tear down the fighter that we had over here as a champion to build up Anthony Joshua's character and his presence when you know nothing about Anthony Joshua. Well, he's so nice. You know what I'm saying? He's so nice. Deontay said on that radio show that the bronze bomber wanted to catch a body. You don't have no problem with that? He actually said he wanted to commit murder. Now, I don't have to be a Karen to know there's something seriously wrong with that. I ran straight to my iPhone and I was calling First 48. I was like, hey, listen, y'all might want to be on the bolo for this guy they call the bronze bomber. Now, he is easy to be found. You look on TV. He is a professional fighter. But he just was on the radio show, and I don't know if he's going to lead the radio show as the Bronze Bomber or Deontay Wilder. But you might need to take consideration to put surveillance on him because he said the Bronze Bomber want to catch a body. Now I'm not trying to snitch, but I'm just trying to let you know that something's obviously wrong. And that's the way people look at Deontay, man. They kept hyping on this Bronze Bomber wanting to catch a body like no other fighter has made reference to trash talking. You know what I'm saying? There's been plenty of fighters that made reference to trash talking. Plenty. Unfortunate for me, on the back end of my life, right? I have to witness, not to sound like I'm in a rocking chair on the porch and shit, right? But then, coming up when it was, all this racism coming up without the internet. I didn't have internet when I was growing up. That shit wasn't existing. We was outside. We was in the wood. We was in the tree line. Shit, we was all over the place. But anyway, it's unfortunate that you would think that people would be more aware and understanding of where we're trying to grow as people, right? As Black people in general, we should know and understand what we've been through, what's in our history books and everything else, right? But to be at this point in time in my life to still see individuals willing to slice through another Black individual just to build up another individual that they never met, they can't relate to, they can be outside the U.S. footprint and perimeter. And not only that, it's too many people this day and time who's pushing these narratives to act like they're truly against every time a Black individual speaks about their own race. I'm going to tell you something. We don't need permission to speak about what's reality, what is truth, what is history, what is in the chapters. That is our history. We don't need permission from nobody to speak on that. It gets all shaky, every time you hear somebody say something and bring up the LGBTQ or whatever. And people so quick, don't criticize, but you don't even know what it stands for. You don't know anybody in that freaking group. So when a Black person start talking about something that they feel that is going on that's wrong with Black people, I see it a lot on social media where they try to turn it into racism, but it's not. It's just we're making an opinion about what we see is wrong. And the way Black people was dogging out Deontay Wilder, and the way I see other people that weren't Black dogging out Deontay Wilder, and to see Black people find anything and everything to bring up someone's personal life, to me, it's just shameful to be at this point in my life to know that, well, we still got a lot of growth. How much growing does it take? Because you're talking about somebody 50 years old that was going through prejudice and racism back in the day to where I'm at now, and we still struggling to be one as a people. Now, when you say one as a people, that means us communicating and understanding and loving each other, right? But when it comes to this boxing game, and you have people that's able to have platforms, listen to what I'm telling you. You haven't heard too much of the Deontay Wilder topic of the conversation come up unless the individual that's pushing the topic has something negative to begin the conversation or to begin the dialogue. Well, they say something like, hey, you know what? You know what's funny? With everything that's been going on, where's Deontay Wilder again? I know he spoke a little bit. We was very anxious for him to come out and speak to the media. He did that. And they ran with it, trashed it, flushed it, retrieved it out the septic, pissed on it, shit, flushed it again. But they was eager and yearning Why he haven't said anything? Don't you think it's weak of him? He hasn't really spoke to the people. So you're basically saying he hasn't spoke to the same people that was basically vilifying him when he was reigning champion. So therefore, it brings me to this right here, right? We've seen and heard everything, and these people would bring his name up, and they would give a leading starting point, which isn't healthy. You know what I'm saying? They would start with a negative, open conversation, and they do it in a way so that everybody that's on the platform, they're pretty comfortable with just basically grab hold of it and take their own freaking bits and pieces from it and digest it in a negative way too. What about him? And he's complaining again. I hope Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua. But what about him coming back? Don't he deserve a trilogy? Oh, he don't deserve anything. He lost. He got his ass beat. He got knocked out. He this. He's that. That's what you hear when it comes to Deontay Wilder. His haters are real. Like the haters for Deontay Wilder is one of the worst in boxing. I don't look. It's no other boxer right now that has more hate than Deontay Wilder. So I say this for him being outside of the media, for him to keep quiet as he's doing and just enjoy and train and do whatever he's doing out there in preparation for him to return to the ring. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people out here that's looking to see him fall even deeper than losing his title. The very fact that he may potentially step back in there with Tyson Fury for a trilogy, people are just basically amping up. They're building up the motherfucking cachet to the time he finally get back into the promotional lens, and they start talking about his next fight, so they can go back in. But I'm asking you, the people, be aware of some of these freaking channels that's out here that will always bring up Deontay Wilder's name for views. They will always bring up Deontay Wilder's freaking name because they know their audience would chime in with negative insults, obscenities. You know what I'm saying? They will make it racial, prejudice, discriminate, any type of language that's adverse. That's what Deontay Wilder's name does to certain media segues out here, and they encourage it. They might not say keep it going, but they encourage the flow of it. They keep the damn current going, and they allow people to continue to just throw trash in it, and continue to damn vilify and trash his name, even diluting the fact on what the man was able to accomplish in boxing. He is, in 2020, he has the largest group of haters in boxing, the biggest group of whiners in boxing. Even being out of the sport right now, having competing, Deontay Wilder has the biggest group of bona fide, legitimate, true to the core haters. Some of the worst boxing discussions that you will ever hear online on this YouTube shit. This YTC, as they call it, YouTube community. Some of the worst damn lives that you will ever experience if you're tuning in is when Deontay Wilder's name come up. I don't have to promise you. I'll say you see for yourself. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Be aware. Shout out to the Bomb Squad, man. Shout out to Bomb Squad. Look forward to you stepping back in the square, man. You know what it is, man. If it's against Tyson Fury or whoever, man, go in there true to life and prove to yourself that you can get this shit. You can do it over again. You know what I'm saying? Prove to yourself and go over here and make it happen there, champ. That's all that matters. Next, appreciate everyone who pulled up, man. Appreciate you for leaving your comments and everything. You know, lastly, I want to talk about the situations that's been going on heading into 2021 that I want you all to really pay close attention to when we start this 2021. Pay close attention, y'all, to the matches that are being made for boxing and MMA. Pay close attention if you are a boxing fan to what big fights are being made in mixed martial arts. Because listen, MMA in general are going to keep cards on a continuous conveyor belt. They're going to keep that shit flowing and flowing and flowing. All right. So what I want you to do is just reach outside the comfort zone of your entertainment when it comes to combat sports and try to tune in to MMA also along with boxing. Because if you don't, you're going to be mixing out on a lot. You're going to be missing out on a lot if you just say, okay, fuck boxing. I mean, fuck MMA. I'm just going to be strictly the boxing. That's why I cover multi-sports, because it takes a lot more for anyone to do something more than just one zoomed in straight boxing. And then when MMA come up, they say, hey, is MMA, look, this is what you hear. Is any MMA on? Yeah, who's fighting? Let me see. Is that Connor dude fighting? Because I saw something on freaking World Star. Like, I know that Logan dude trying to fight that Connor dude. Is that Logan dude fighting that Connor dude? Or I don't know, man. That the one that's supposed to be fighting Floyd? Is that Logan dude or the Jake dude? I'm not sure. But what I want you to do, boxing fans, is just pay attention to the fights that's going to be made for 2021. And, you know, broaden your horizon when it comes to tuning in to MMA and boxing. You'll be very impressed, you know. Stay tuned, because in MMA, you might see a fighter lose this week and just say they get knocked out with a head kick. Wow. You might see them back in the cage for about 4 weeks later. Man, they wear 4-ounce gloves, and it's been proven that MMA fighters supposedly take less damage than boxers, but they're able to put on shows, whether it be UFC, Bellator, One Championship. I think they have a Rising boxing card that's going on the New Year's. If you never been to a New Year's card in life in Japan, oh my God, check out. That's another thing I want you to do. Don't just say it's gonna be Japanese fighters. I ain't checking out no Japanese fighters. Man, you have to explore. Explore. Check out those Japanese organizations. Them motherfuckers be lit. The first time I was able to go to a New Year's, oh my God, man, you have to check that shit out. That should be entertaining. If you just say you go in there and tune in to your favorite fighter, somebody you're familiar with, and you expecting them to do something, and it doesn't happen, right? They perform below your standards. And then you go check out a fighter or a card of fighters that you've never really seen in life, but the organization has a damn good reputation. It's legit. It's official. You will find yourself looking at that and say, damn, this is some good fights, y'all. I might want to bookmark this shit. I might want to stay on top of this One Championship, fights and the Rising fights. I might want to stay on top of that. It's just like the old school Pride, Glory. Broaden your horizon in 2021 and see if that's something that you end up, you can add to your list of combat sports entertainment. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it, y'all. Just go out there and try to make it happen. Because I'm telling you, if you're able to do that and look at some mixed martial arts, then it'll give you a different perspective on boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things, it's more things you'll learn about boxing by looking at mixed martial arts in general. Seriously, I'm telling you, you can learn something from mixed martial arts, and that'll allow you to better accept what you're watching in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Because boxing and MMA is different than boxing in the sport, competing in professional boxing. It's different. It's very different. The way some of these mixed martial artists fight on the inside are different than seeing a mixed martial artist transition over to boxing and fight on the inside for boxing. What they've learned in the cage absolutely transfers over to a point when they step in the boxing ring. And not only that, you get to see some of these mixed martial arts fights in a boxing ring overseas. A lot of people look at that, it's like, no way, no way, no way. I'm used to a cage. But overseas, they have mixed martial arts fights in a boxing ring. You see people go through the ropes, but it's very entertaining to watch, man. Seeing something different, refreshing, and not just the same thing year after year after year, the same boxing talk. And then when mixed martial arts come up, you're like, that kind of dude when he hadn't been champion for years. We got a whole nother stable of champions. And I'm gonna tell you, World Combat Sports, I can run this shit off the top of my head. Off the top of my head. Just because I haven't really been talking about it as of late doesn't mean that I don't know what's going on in the sport of mixed martial arts. But I guarantee you, I ask that you make sure you tune in at the top of the damn calendar year and broaden your horizon when it comes to, combat sports entertainment for boxing and MMA. That's all. France said, at World Combat Sports, who you got in Spence versus Crawford if it happens? Of course, those of you that know, I got Crawford. I got Crawford. Absolutely. If you saw my live yesterday with Dion Nichols, shout out to Equalizer. He's a cruiserweight. He stopped through. Make sure you check out that interview. Very entertaining fighter. He has power in both hands, man. His last fight was earlier this year against Errol Newman, who's a tough boxer. And he went in there and put on a show. Both of them went in there and put on a show. But knowing Dion fighting on the regional level, his knockout power, yeah. But back to what you were saying, I had on my Crawford shirt doing that interview. And I'm going for Crawford. I think he's a more all-around fighter. I think him in the way he make adjustments in fights, I have to credit him as being smart. I really do. I have to credit him to a point of being a better all-around boxer than Spence. Now, what people, when it comes to this rivalry, what I do see on some channels is the anger. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand, this is just opinion. When we talk about something that's never, we're talking, we're basically prognosticating something that hasn't happened. So we're giving our opinion. People shouldn't get mad if I say, hey, I'm going for Crawford. Okay, we have a huge group of people that's going for Errol Spence. But in my opinion, I'm trying to reserve energy to speak on this as if it's going to happen. I'm trying my best to keep the reservoir half full on speaking on this Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight as if it's going to happen. But a big part of me closing out 2020, it just seems like Errol Spence always has something to say about the fight that's negative. And like I mentioned earlier, 70-30 is just absurd. It doesn't make any sense. But if the fight ever takes place, my pick is absolutely Bud Crawford. I'm not going to tell you I think he knocks out Errol Spence. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just because he knocked out, all his opponents since he's been in the welterweight division. Who am I to sit up here and make a comparison like that of Bud Crawford? Because when I did that before, people was like, "Man, you crazy. You crazy, dog. It ain't no way he gonna knock out Errol Spence, dog." I'm just saying, Errol Spence knocked out Jeff Horn. I'm just saying, hey, he knocked out Jose Benavidez. He goddamn stopped Amir Khan, who didn't want to continue, and then goddamn Greenbanes, and then Kell Brook. I'm just saying. When it come to Errol Spence, what they say? Nah, man, Terrence Crawford ain't gonna knock out Errol Spence, man. What are you talking about? Errol Spence ain't never been knocked out, man. What the fuck you saying? I'm just saying that my pick, if the fight ever happens, we don't know, it's gonna be Terrence Crawford. That's what I'm going for. And I've went in big detail before. So I'll save it for the day because I know people enjoying their Christmas and everything. I just wanted to jump on here. I wasn't planning on staying close to damn 3 hours, but like myself, I've been through the family and Christmas and chestnuts roasting on the open fire, drinking eggnog, eating cheese and crackers and grapes. You know what I'm saying? Cooking, goddamn ham and all that other shit that goes on. Been through that. But if indeed 2021 presents a better understanding for Errol Spence, I'll say 60-40 is fair. All right, 60-40. Now, if by chance Terrence Crawford, what I'm hearing, faces Sean Porter, then I definitely will tune in and support that fight. The reason being, it is another common opponent. Do I think it's bullshit? Yeah, I think it's bullshit because now this will be the second opponent that Terrence Crawford has faced that deals with Errol Spence line of work. It will be the second one. He smashed Kell Brook, and now he's about to go ahead and face Sean Porter, who is lost to Kell Brook, all right, who Terrence Crawford defeated. The Sean Porter who lost to Keith Thurman. I can't connect Keith Thurman and Terrence Crawford because the fight hasn't happened. Sean Porter went in there and lost to Errol Spence. So right now, just like Danny Garcia gets a second shot from losing to Sean Porter, losing to Errol Spence. Now, if indeed true, Sean Porter get to come back around and fight Terrence Crawford. Another common opponent in Errol Spence. So what is going to be? Okay, Terrence Crawford goes in here and have a lopsided decision win over Sean Porter. Then what? People are gonna say, okay, he earned a UD, but he didn't drop Porter like Errol Spence did. You're gonna get some motherfuckers to come up here and say some shit like that. Well, Errol Spence dropped him in the 11th round. So Terrence Crawford wasn't able to, one up him. The point of the matter is Terrence Crawford defeats Errol Spence. It's a win. So that's two opponents that Errol Spence been in there with. Two. If Errol Spence come up here, well, I'm still saying 730, 70-30, whatever we give him. I don't care if he beat Sean Porter. He chose to fight Sean Porter. I ain't telling him to fight Sean Porter. He chose to face. If Errol Spence on that bullshit, man, I'm gonna leave it up to these intelligent human beings to figure that shit out. Because the way he's talking, he liable to get in front of the mic and say, well, what you I already beat Sean Porter. So, Terrence Crawford ended up beating him. All right, cool. But what if Terrence Crawford stops Sean Porter? Because Sean Porter's been dropped by Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner dropped Sean Porter worse than Errol Spence did. I could care less what people want to say about it. He did. Because Sean Porter, even though his eyes was in the back, you know what I'm saying? It was in the lids. He almost caught himself before he touched the ground with his glove. Almost. But we need to get off this Bud Crawford torch parade. Because I'm starting to think some of this boxing community don't like dark-skinned brothers. For real. I'm serious. I'm just being real, man. They had the hate for Deontay Wilder, dark skin, and they had the hate for Terrence Crawford, dark skin. I'm talking about my people too. I'm like, damn, what is going on, dog? Y'all don't like dark skinned cats? Like, is this a light skin colony we in? This a brown skin beige type of damn support system? I mean, what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't like dark skinned fighters? What are we talking about here? I've heard too many people supply Errol Spence with a pass, almost like, you know, we're about to have a fight with UCAD and we get a therapeutic exemption. They trying to give Errol Spence that motherfucking pass for talking stupid. If 60-40 is something that you know in that position that you wouldn't take, so why are you going to say 70-30 or whatever we give them? So whatever we give them could be what again? 75-25 is next. 75-25 is next, Errol. Peace, Scott Sir King. All the wrenches and everyone in the chat. I see $150 in this thing to salute. Yeah, to everyone, happy holidays. Yeah, man, $150 was in here. Boy Wonder. A lot of people don't know his name. You know, he have an Ellis, Boy Wonder too. You know, 150, Boy Wonder. King Mitch in the building. Salute to you, my brother. Sean Porter is more of a measuring stick than Kell Brook. Convincing win gets Crawford closer to 50-50. Interesting. I absolutely agree with the measuring stick. Is it indeed? Who am I to say anything outside of that? Is it indeed? The metric is a common opponent. All right. But getting him closer to 50-50, unless he picks up the WBA title, I don't think it does anything in the eyes of Errol Spence. I think boxing as a whole should just ignore the fact of what's going on with Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford. Because right now I hear Errol Spence putting that into the equation too. He wants to sit up here and say, well, Al said, well, bring Al out to the camera. Man, I get all these motherfuckers talking for Al. Well, Al Heyman. Well, Al Heyman, where is he? We know Bob Arum legit. He out here. We know him. We've seen him in person. But all these fighters, Errol Spence, well, you know, Al Heyman say, you know, take the easier route. Why would not? You know, we didn't even talk about you, Terrence. Take the easier route and go Sean Porter. You know, why would not take the easier route? You know, so you trying to say y'all didn't mention my name? Nah, man. Me and Al, we was talking about Sean Porter. Where's Al at? Why is he being mentioned with these PBC fighters all the time? Why is Errol Spence speaking as a mouthpiece for Al Heyman, but yet to deter his future opposition to Terrence Crawford, he's speaking bad about what Bob Arum is saying about Terrence Crawford? Why don't you just keep it on Terrence Crawford? If him and his promoter right now are in a contentious relationship, why are you worried about it when it comes to you negotiating with Terrence Crawford? Why bring in all these extras into it? Why precipitate the negativity instead of trying to make the fight, Errol? Hey, these PBC fighters, some of them come in here and talk for Al, and then Errol up here talking for Al, and then speaking on Bob Arum and what's public record. Well, the proof is in the pudding. You know, well, I don't mean to bring up what Bob said. What did he say? Just because he said he lost money? So what does that have to do with you, though? You acting like you have breached the top 5 PPV boxing matches in the sport. Why are you, Errol Spence, bringing up what Bob has said about him and his relationship with Terrence Crawford not promoting himself properly? Why is that a factor of yours and you're not a promoter? You're talking as if Al Heyman is telling you stuff. You always speaking about Al Haymon. What about Errol Spence? And then it comes down to a point where Errol Spence say some shit like, well, Bob, stop lying. What the fuck are you talking about again? If Bob stopped lying, Errol Spence is trying to convince us that he's a top dog at welterweight. And obviously he's trying to convince us that he has a partnership in the promotional business, Man Up Promotions, or Errol Spence Promotion, whatever the case, when he's out here trying to speak from his promoter to Terrence Crawford promoter. Forget what Terrence Crawford have to say. Errol Spence just keep on talking like he want to blend in controversy. Well, you know, Bob Arum, he need to stop lying. What is in tech? Look, what does that have to do with making the fucking fight? When you say, yeah, we could that fight could happen, but right now, you know, I'm trying to see, you know, what Canelo looked like in 2021 at 160. The guy asked you to your face about Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, but yet you want to say, yeah, it could happen. So if it could happen, keep the motherfucking subject on topic and stop bringing up shit that Bob Arum's doing. They hating on Bud. He ain't a nigga like that. I don't think it's skin color. But how he carry himself, not like some young thug. Man, these dark skinned cats being hated on, man. Deontay Wilder, Bud Crawford. Them dudes being hated on for real. And like you said, Michael, it could be the fact that he just had another kid, a newborn from the same woman. It could be that everywhere he go, he has his family. And then, you know, contradictory to what my people say. Oh, well, we want him to carry himself, you know, represent us well. Well, you have two individuals, perfect example, that's represent themselves well. One that started boxing for his daughter, and the other one who always bring his family to the fights. But yet, the vilification is absolutely real. You got some cats with their families, and they being vilified by their own people, as if they ain't doing shit. The man just had another baby. No one's talking about that. The man has 6 kids by the same woman. No one's talking about that. But let Adrian Broner do something. Show up in court and talk about he had $13. Oh man, it's all over the news. Hey man, you see AB in the oh man, you know, he said he got $13. Okay, all right. They talking about that shit. I agree, but if when Bud knocks out Sean Porter, Spence would just duck him even more. Listen, man, you ain't never lied. If Bud drops Sean Porter more than once, if Bud drops Sean Porter before the 11th round, if Bud stops Sean Porter, I really don't want to put out the cliche. I don't want to hear people come up here switching and jumping the damn fence and now becoming Bud. You know, listen. One thing we need to understand when it comes to black fighters facing black fighters, they're always a name for one black fighter. Okay, and you ever notice that? Like they pick and choose the one they want to support fully, and the one that they don't, they'll give a negative damn attachment to it. Like for Deontay Wilder, they'll say Deontay Wilder fanboys or whatever, right? But for Bud, they say the Bud tenders. What are the Bud tenders? The Bud tenders. What exactly is that? A Bud tenders. Like we're boxing fans, and we say we hardcore boxing fans, and we want to give the rah speech and all that shit. But what is the damn alias for Spence? Because from what I see, people act like when Bud came out and said he must have some screws loose from the accident, people jumped on that shit like he was talking about the man's family. Oh my God. Did you hear what Terrence said? How disrespectful and juvenile was that? Like, that's borderline prejudice for him to talk about a black man having an accident and almost losing his life. That Crawford guy, how dare he? How dare he speak of a man that, okay, so we're not going to mention the fact on why he was in the accident. So what Bud said, he must have some screws loose, was light. That shit was light, light. Because now what you're doing, Errol Spence, is taking to the media and you're telling us that you're chasing another individual in the sport, and you want us to attempt to get behind to push you and Canelo. I'm not pushing that shit. Because Errol Spence was the same one, like I said over and over again, saying recently that he wanted to unify the division. He's on the verge of unifying the welterweight division. The same remediated shit. But yet again, he wants us to say, you know what, let me get the fans out here and just make sure you support me faster than what I'm talking. But I want to fight Canelo Alvarez at 160. I wasn't asleep, but yeah, I want to fight Canelo Alvarez at 160. I think it's a good fight. But what about you and Terrence Crawford there, Errol? Is that fight even considered to be on your radar in 2021? Yeah, we could make it happen, like 60 30 15 70 something. I don't even know what the I started boxing in 2015. You don't know what Errol Spence we got. God damn, this nigga. We don't even know what Errol Spence we looking at. He keep on switching lanes so quick. You know what I'm saying? Just stick to one motherfucking topic. Is it going to be about the percentages? Is it going to be about you wanting to really face Bud Crawford? What do you want to do as a boxer? Prove to people that you're the top dog at welterweight. Okay, whatever. If you want to say you got more belts, all right. But come on. Come on, YTC. You're not going to hold Errol Spence accountable for trying to prove to the people that he's the top dog at welterweight, but yet he's behind Terrence Crawford on the pound for pound list. Does that make any fucking sense? Seriously, does that make any sense? That's just like saying you're the vice president of the United States. But since you're the vice president of the dang drama club, they're going to treat you as if, your superiority on the grander scale doesn't mean anything. But right here on this local level, you're just the VP of the drama club. You're not the president, okay? You're not the president of the drama club. You're the VP. But I'm the VP of the United States. It doesn't matter. This isn't about politics. This is about the drama club. That's what I get from Errol Spence. Errol Spence is trying to prove that he is the best at the drama club when Terrence Crawford is the best in pound for pound. Errol Spence is trying to convince the public that, you know what? I'm the top dog at welterweight. So what? So fucking what? Terrence Crawford has 5 fights. 5 freaking fights at welterweight and 5 stoppages. 5 fights, 5 stoppages. 5 freaking fights. Cinco de knockout. Cinco de knockout. Cinco de knockout. I am quite exhausted hearing that Errol Spence has a better resume than Terrence Crawford at welterweight. Who freaking cares? Who cares? Because the big names that you're talking about, Danny Garcia, who hasn't won a belt from a champion at welterweight, period. Sean Porter. And then you get the people who say, well, you know what? Hey, check this out, man. Let's throw Lamont Peterson in that motherfucker. Let's throw Chris Algieri up in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And look, we got to throw Carlos Ocampo in there because Carlos Ocampo, he was there for a reason. He was the Mandy for a reason, dog. Come on, man. Give Carlos Ocampo credit. If you've been campaigning in the welterweight division as long as Errol Spence, why are you now just beginning to surface and get championship fights? Were they not confident in you? Don't say, oh, nobody will fight me. If you've been campaigning in the welterweight division as long as you have, and Terrence Crawford, though he started boxing before Errol Spence, they are not different in age. They're not that different in age. So once again, if I'm having this discussion and I'm telling myself, okay, who chose to be a boxer? Okay, boom. One is 31 years old. Let's see. I know he's turning 30, 31 soon, but one's 30 years old and one's 33 years old. Okay. So therefore, one started boxing earlier than the other. It's not that huge of a gap. But Terrence Crawford, once he entered the sport, he chose to compete at a lower division on up to where he's at 147 now, right? But when Errol Spence joined in the boxing club, he was at 154 and he chose to drop down to 147. He chose. So this is once again pretty much creating exposure. Speaking from photography language, right? So if you look at how Errol Spence is telling us now that he's pretty much outgrown and it's hard for him to make 147. Just think about his first 3 fights that he came in at 154. So you're trying to say as long as you've been in the welterweight division, all of a sudden you're outgrowing the division when we are demanding that you make this fight with Terrence Crawford. Now it's a push to persuade the boxing public that you're outgrowing and it's hard for you and you're only performing at 70% because you choose to drink in between fights and balloon up in weight and have an accident. Now you're trying to convince us that, hey, I'm outgrowing the welterweight division and it's time for me to move up to 154. Okay, cool. We got it. I salute you for that. But 2 things need to happen. One, you commit to a nutritionist because you are making millions, right? You want to be the A side, right? You're making millions. You over there in Dallas, and you have all your people supporting you over there, right? So either one, you're making the money. You're making the money. You want to put up this PPV shit, and you got your people saying 2.25 PPV buys and all this other shit, which is still quite low. Considerably, you're not even breaching the number 5 top PPV ever in boxing. I'll give you the receipts because really I want people to stop acting like Errol Spence is doing these incredible numbers, man. Stop it. What does that look like to y'all? What does that look like? Have they came close to number 5 Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield? Has Errol Spence came close to that? Has he came close to this right here? Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. Has Errol Spence came close to this? 3rd highest. Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard after Sugar Ray had returned to the sport from an eye injury and went in there and fought Marvelous Hagler at a higher weight class. Dropped out at 84, came back at 87. Absolutely boxing knowledge for you. What about this right here? No. Let me back up. What about this right here? Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Has Errol Spence came close to this? Is he doing Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor numbers in Texas? If he isn't doing this, why are people acting like he's selling these incredible freaking seats in the stadium in a pandemic that we just started to go back to a partial live gate? Why is it all about the money when we're not at a live gate? We're not at a full live gate capacity right now. So why is he trying to convince us just because it's in his backyard of Texas, we should all jump on the bandwagon and saddle up and ride into the sunset? Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Is Errol Spence come close to that? So to get back to my point, one or two things need to happen. Either you need to convince us that you're gonna stay in the footprint of Texas and try to get these big fights at the AT&T Stadium and continue to have the support of Jerry Jones and homestead at the welterweight division, or vacate your belts and move up to 154 and just attempt to become a champion at a higher division. Just stop fucking with us. We're tired of hearing it. We just don't want to hear it no more, Spence. We just don't want to hear it. It really don't matter to me how many people advocate for you, Spence. I'm telling you, we kind of sick and tired of hearing all the freaking excuses. From get a belt, you know what I'm saying? From why wouldn't I fight Sean Porter, easy fight? What Bob Arum is talking about. Everybody get their turn. I don't know why Crawford is here. I wouldn't come to his fights. He should just stick to his word. All of a sudden, you talking about, you showing us $1 million horse auction, but yet you act like you have the motherfucking sensitivity of a lab gerbil. Which one is it going to be? Are you going to stay at welterweight division? Or are you going to move up to 154? Are you going to check with Jamel Charlo on when his fight is going to be with Patrick Teixeira, or the winner of Brian Castano, Patrick Teixeira? And you're going to take that fight? When are you going to make the decision to move up to 154? Because real boxing fans or human beings in general can read through the bullshit to say Canelo Alvarez isn't really giving a damn about what you're talking about. Canelo Alvarez is not even mentioning your name. He's trying to homestead at 168. And have you hit Jamal Charlo up yet? Have you said, Jamal, what you trying to do, man? Why you trying to clout chase? Oh, that favorite term. Hey, Jamal, why you trying to clout chase, bro? For real, I was trying to get that fight. You heard me go on the zone. Why you trying to get that fight, bro? I thought we were bros, bro. Right, bro? Is that the new one? That's the new one, right? Hey, bro. Oh my God. Hey, bro. You know I wanted that fight, right? Why are you trying to get that fight with Canelo, bro? It's not a vengeance. When it comes to talking about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, it's not a vengeance I have about Errol Spence. It's just when you're saying man down, and most of your opponents has been standing up, then we need to throw away that shit. Get a new hashtag. Scotty White gave you that hashtag, man up. It's okay to change your hashtag there, Spence. Man up is good. All right. So the one that should have man down, if he was to have it, that should be Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's hashtag should be man down, and Errol Spence should be man up. For real. Because we're talking about Garcia was standing, Sean Porter was standing, Mikey Garcia was standing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of your opponents is standing at the final bell. So when I have these discussions with these people about Bud Crawford fighting Errol Spence, I don't want to hear the first thing out your mouth say he's going to knock out Bud Crawford. It's hilarious. It's hilarious to hear that. Oh, all of a sudden he's going to knock out Bud Crawford when Mikey Garcia from 35 to 47 made it through the final bell. Seriously? Sean Porter made it to the final bell. Danny Garcia made it to the final bell. And you're going to knock out Bud Crawford. You know one thing I haven't heard Errol Spence say at all about Terrence Crawford? I pay attention, man. I try to, help, I try to put it out there like I do. I pay a little bit of attention to language, right? You know what I haven't heard Errol Spence say about Terrence Crawford? It's going to be a war. I know this is probably the first place you heard it, but Errol Spence has never said that about addressing him and Terrence Crawford. You see how he immediately told the public that him and Canelo is going to be a war, but he never once said that him and Terrence Crawford is going to be a war? Because he's trying to sell to the public that a fight with Canelo Alvarez is better. You know what I'm saying? You never heard Errol Spence say that him and Terrence Crawford is going to be a war. I haven't heard Man Up say that him and Terrence Crawford is going to be a war. Why not? I'm just saying, people. I'm just saying. But good point there, Michael. Good point. Let me put that up there. We'll see if that fight even comes, on the table in 21. You know what I'm saying? We'll see if it even comes up on the table for them to talk about in 21. Seriously. But when y'all on these other channels ask that, why haven't Errol Spence say that him and Terrence Crawford is going to be a war? You know why? I haven't heard that shit. Why haven't we heard him say that? Man, moving on. I don't know if I don't know if y'all been paying close attention to this fiasco that's been going on with Logan Paul and them, right, trying to promote whatever he's promoting. But yeah, he's actually trying to convince the boxing world, since he has a little bit of wrestling history behind him, that once again, he's going back to what made him famous, so to speak, and that's YouTube. So I admit the video he just put out, he's talking about Michael Bisping, Conor McGregor, Dillon Danis. The Dana White impression was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So once again, back to what I was saying. Logan Paul is out here trying to sell us some goofiness as he set to face Floyd Mayweather next year. Now Logan Paul is saying that Canelo Alvarez is mad that he gets a shot to step in with Floyd Mayweather. Then Canelo. He gets a shot and Canelo doesn't. Which is just asinine to me to believe that Canelo is actually thinking about Floyd Mayweather right now. Because if I thought about this several times, imposing that for a live, Canelo and Floyd, but both of those individuals has not even came close to mention one another's name. And then to have the fact that Floyd is doing exhibition bouts and Canelo is still fighting true boxing active opposition, who both are still actively competing in the sport, then it's no need for me to sit up here and talk about a fantasy fight that Floyd is not going to entertain. He's not going to call Canelo out. I mean, Canelo coming there and I think he'll punish Floyd right now. I know that's difficult for a lot of people to believe, since Floyd is a defensive magician, a genius, a scholar, a professor. But right now, Canelo Alvarez stepping there with Floyd Mayweather, who is much older, he would get punished, in my opinion. But for Logan Paul, to sit up here and act like he actually have a voice in boxing is just unfucking believable. And you know what? I think I'm talking too much about it. I'm talking too much in a negative way about it because I'm hearing boxers tell me this right here. I say, man, that's fucked up. Logan Paul up here, you know, riding this wave of boxing and shit. Just off coming off of damn YouTube fight, you know, just because the zone wanted to put him and another YouTuber on there and put Devin Haney on the undercard. They having real boxers on the undercard. I think that's fucked up. And then I'm hearing boxers tell me, man, it ain't fucked up. Man, let them get that bag. I'm like, what? Yeah, man, it ain't that bad, man. Let them get their bag. If they want to, you know, if they want to fight a boxer and the boxer agrees, let them get that bag. So you would rather see YouTubers come in here and make more money than you ever made in your fight as a boxer. You would want a YouTuber, a YTC operator to enter your sport and make more money than you have up to now. I don't agree. You know what I'm saying? I just don't agree, people. Seriously, I don't agree with that. I don't know if you agree with it, but I don't agree. Because it's making a mockery of the sport in general. Like, let's just say, for instance, there Michael, Ken, you know, everyone else, Franz, Mitch, Walker, anyone who's in here right now. Let's just say, for instance, Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather steps in the ring. And it's a little funny at first. And let's just say Logan Paul says, fuck it. I need to start seizing this moment and take some risks. And he's able to land a shot on Floyd Mayweather. Pow! Floyd Mayweather stumbles back against the ropes. Logan Paul comes in there and goddamn rushes in and hit him with another couple of shots. Let's just say he's able to have a puncher's chance and knock down Floyd Mayweather. A YouTuber. Let's say, for instance, in a life where we appreciate our imagination, that shit happens right there. What does it do to the boxing world as we know it? We're used to seeing Floyd Mayweather. He did get hurt by Shane Mosley. He was hurt by Marcus Madonna. He was dropped, you know, by Zab Judah. His glove did touch the canvas. Real talk. You know, it's been some times where we've seen Floyd in controversy with other boxers. But when you say Logan Paul will a puncher's chance land on Floyd and he's able to then put him up against the ropes or hurt him like Shane Mosley, or rushes in while he's hurt and hit him again and drops him. I just think it'll be beyond. It would be far beyond recovery. Now you will have all these motherfucking YTC people. You know what? Shit, fuck all that, man. You know what? I'm trying to look at this damn ranking system right here. I'm trying to find me somebody goddamn call out. You have people goddamn going on the ranking system. They're submitting packages to the promoters. Say, you know what? All jokes aside, after what Logan Paul did, he just gave us inspiration. And I'm submitting a package to the WBC and the WBA to make this fight happen. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. Logan Paul has given us a new source of energy to go in here and make this money. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking forward to right now. I'm gonna go submit my package to be next up. So you ask them, it's like, okay, so who you plan on fighting though? Who you want to fight? You have the followers, you have millions of followers. Who you want to fight? Well, after Jermell Charlo pick up that next belt, I want to fight Jermell Charlo for the real titles. Oh shit! This motherfucker said he want to fight Jermell Charlo. He say, I have 5 million followers, man. I think it'll be a good fight. Right now, my walk around weight is about 175. You know, I can cut down to 160 easy, but I want to fight Jamel Charlo for all the belts, man. For real. I want to do what no other YouTuber's been able to do. I want to fight him for the title. All of them. All of them. Get with the commission and see if they'll sanction the fight. Because we're going to go with the Conor McGregor Act. If they don't want to sanction me for the motherfucking Jamel Charlo, I'm gonna push the Conor McGregor Act. And you ask him, so what's the Conor McGregor Act? Well, he came in here and fought the best that you had, right? Floyd Mayweather, without any professional experience, and he was approved, and they charged $100 PPV. Why am I any different? I want to fight Jamel Charlo for all the titles. Give me 3 months. Let me hire some people, and I'll be in tip-top shape, do the promo, and make the fight happen. But I don't want it to be an exhibition fight. I want it to be for all the titles. And see, you'll have motherfuckers challenging real fighters. And if they generate enough interest, motherfucker, make a flyer online and put it out there on IG and see if people bite onto it. Oh, so-and-so want to freaking, he want to fight this YouTube dude, man. I mean, YouTube dude want to fight Jamel Charlo, man. You know, for all the titles. They want to be the first one to be able to come in here and get a shot at the titles, not an exhibition bout. You know, maybe we can have it on Triller. Maybe we can have that shit on Triller, dog. Maybe we can do better numbers than Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. That's a thought. Maybe we can be the headliner, man. I'm serious, y'all. I'm not bullshit. I'm serious. If Logan Paul is able to touch Floyd Mayweather and change the game for the YouTube community, don't you think it's going to be more people, more guys out there trying to say, yeah, you're not going to make this shit happen, man. I thought it was all a dream, but it ain't. What's going on, IB? How you feel, my brother? What's good? What's good? Michael said, it's so beyond belief that I'm kind of scared that something might happen in that Paul versus Floyd fight. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's all I'm saying. It's some potential out there for Logan Paul, who is extremely, look, he outsized Floyd Mayweather. Now I'm not taking anything away from Floyd. But I'm saying Logan Paul is much bigger. All right. Let's just say, for instance, like I said before, he is able to land. A lot of people say, man, no, Floyd too good for that. His defense is impeccable. But older age in that environment, playing around, trying to take the fight for granted. You know, you're dealing with a YouTuber. They don't have the timing. They don't have the IQ. You can pretty much know that all the experience that Floyd is saying this to himself. All the experience I got, he ain't gonna be able to catch me with shit. But not recognizing that his reflexes probably slowed down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So Logan Paul lands a shot, man, and hurt him. Boxing goes to hell from there. Because once Logan Paul loses the fight, he goes back on YouTube and say, man, look, everybody wants an interview with me. Everybody. It's not the fact that Floyd Mayweather haven't been hurt in his career. It's the fact that a YouTube sensation was able to touch Floyd and hurt him. That's what's going to generate the phone calls and the interviews. And that's when people are going to start clowning boxing even more. They're going to say, man, you know what? We should really start considering bringing YouTubers to the sport of boxing. But see, what they don't know is you already have some YouTubers in the sport of boxing on the regional level. They have guys getting off of YouTube every day going in to compete on regional cards with 0-0 records, with 2-7. You know what I'm saying? 1-10. They have guys getting off the couch every day in the sport of professional boxing. They just Not on the level of Jake Paul, them, because they have a huge following. You know what I'm saying? But if Logan Paul is able to catch Floyd, and that's a if. Boxing is gonna be up in the inferno, man. People are gonna be talking about this shit and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe he was able to catch Floyd." Yeah, I'm back. But man, that's it, man. It's been a pleasure, spending Christmas, a little bit of Christmas, 3 hours worth of Christmas with y'all. I know some of y'all fucked up right now. You've been drinking, eating, you feeling good. You can't wait the New Year's to bring in 2021. You know what I'm saying? I wish y'all nothing but the best. And closing out this year 2020. Keep prayed up, stay prayed up. And hopefully we get these stimulus checks. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we're able to get some stimulus relief again. Because I'm telling you, how screwed up is it for us just to receive one source of stimulus relief during this pandemic, where you have millions that was on unemployment, millions on unemployment as we speak, and we just get one freaking check? I hope they figure it out. The 600, which is absolutely insane for them to just say 600. That's insane. I know they was trying to push something like 2,000, but we will see, man. You know what I'm saying? We will see what happens. I wish y'all nothing but the best, man. Continue to grow as an individual. Continue to study this boxing, MMA, combat sports in general. Be sure you tune in each and every time. Hit the bell icon, sub to the channel, hit the like button. And I will definitely be back on here at a later date, people. You know what it is. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tuned in to World Combat Sports.